Hello there everybody, how are we all? I don't know why I was surprised by that when I literally clicked on the button. I'm surprised by the things I'm surprised at. And that shouldn't be surprising because I am a bit fucking mental. Hello there, everybody. How are we all? Merry Sundaymas to all who celebrate. Yes, welcome in, one and all. Hello there. Thank you, Lilycat87, for gifting a sub 5 hours ago, so we weren't even broadcasting. But that's delightfully mental. Huzzah! And thank you, Grey Yarn Wannabe, with 43 months of madness. Much appreciated, but also seek help. Seek help. There's something desperately wrong. So, talking of people with something desperately wrong, they enjoy doing streams with me. Justice MTG. Hello there, Helena. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
I am alive, but at what cost?
A question I ask myself every day.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. How you getting on?
Yeah, just come back from the pub. It's nice. Just chilling out. Well, it's my last day in Nottingham before staying with my parents for Christmas. So I was making sure to spend as much time with people, and of course, I got to spend some time with the chat as well. So here we are, my last stream before Christmas.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. You're not able to stream wherever you're off to.
I'm not. I probably could stream, but I'll probably be really busy spending time with family for the next 5 days or so. So.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough. I mean, I personally like to spend as little time as possible with my family, so I will be streaming all over Christmas. I don't give a fuck.
Touche.
I'll spend a bit of time in the daytime with them, and then the evenings are my own. I'm not a fucking play with this shit. There's the idea of heaven. It disgusts me. Why would I want to spend time with my family forever? I could be spending time with them right now. I have chosen not to, God. This is not my idea of paradise. Just saying.
Thank you, Theorist, for the 2 months of Prime. Wake up, a new 4-hour Keith video just dropped. Yes, Gay the Crusader has another Keith Starmer-themed epic.
4 hours, that's a lot.
That's my train ride sorted tomorrow.
True.
It'll be 2 hours because I watch it in double speed.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. Yes. So, you wanted to watch something? I've totally forgotten what it was. I'll be honest with you. I've been asleep all fucking day, so I don't know anything that this happened, or I can't add anything to this conversation. So, like normal, basically.
I mean, it's not unreasonable. Yeah, there's a Trevor Phillips thing. You know how they have their, like, the Sky News have their own version of the Laura Koonsberg Sunday show, which has Trevor Phillips, that we never watch because it's always on at the same time with the same guests. But there's no Sunday with Laura Koonsberg today, so our only option is having to put up with Trevor Phillips. Because like, whilst Trevor Phillips may be a better journalist than Laura Koonsberg, I think he's a worse human being.
He is, and he's also not as stupidly entertaining. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like, it seems like either the enjoyment we get out of watching Sunday with Laura Koonsberg is getting angry at how poor of a journalist she is. That's part of the fun.
It is. I can only find the one from 7 days ago on the YouTubes.
If you go to the live tab.
Let me have a look. If you go to Sky News, live. There we go. Hang on a second. Oh, there we go. Sunday morning with Trevor Phillips, Lucy Powell, Kevin Hollinrake, Sir Charlie Bean. Sir Charlie Bean is definitely just a fucking children's character, isn't it?
100%.
That's from
like
James
Mr.
and the
Magoo or some shit.
Yeah. Honest to God, that's anyway. Yeah. So and Lord Darroch, who's probably evil because they're a lord. I don't know. Oh, talking of which, I presume you have covered it. I don't think I've even mentioned it. The stuffing the House of Lords with weirdos.
Oh yeah, 100%. We covered it when the list was leaked a couple of weeks back. I got very frustrated by it. The absolute funniest bit, is that Thangam Debonair literally put out in the press.
Can you pronounce her name correctly, please?
Thangam Debonair.
There you go.
Yeah, so Thangam Debonair, she released in the press saying that the Green Party were lying about her on their campaign material, and saying that oh well, they're saying that if I lose, I'll be put up in the House of Lords because Labour are corrupt, and that would never happen. And that's literally exactly what's happened.
Of course it is. But someone said it's so true. So I saw the greatest, most accurate tweet I've ever seen. Being left wing in Britain means being right before everyone else realises you're right.
And that makes everyone mad at you.
Yeah, exactly. And they have a go at you, and then eventually realise you were right, but never acknowledge that or change.
Exactly, 100%. There's the best bit. We even watched a clip of Thangam Debonair on Politics Live getting mad at Boris Johnson for using the honours list to essentially anoint his mates, right? To anoint his cadre of hangers-on, and saying, well, Keir Starmer would never do this. Keir Starmer's a man of integrity, whilst he literally uses the honours list to anoint MPs who lost, people who helped the chicken coup, and MPs who mysteriously stood aside in seats to allow new bloods to come in. There was definitely absolutely no, 100% no. I guarantee there was no discussion about potential seats in the Lords if they stepped down at any point.
Yeah.
Before that happened. No conversations at all.
On my personal note, just because of the local angle to this, is the guy who's about to become Lord Steve McCabe, a name probably not known to anybody because even though he served,
Steve McCabe,
even though he served in Parliament from 1997 until literally 2024, he achieved nothing in that time whatsoever. Even though he was for more than a quarter of a century, he did no things at all. Anyway, he was my local MP, the first man I ever voted for to become an MP, back in whenever the first election was, because, yeah, okay. Anyway, piece of shit, piece of garbage, useless MP, but was a massively right-wing piece of shit and the former chairman of the Labour Friends of Israel.
And he also, I'm just finding this out now, he charged the taxpayer £5,500 for a new kitchen during the expenses scandal.
He did indeed, yeah. No, he was up to his nose in it, yeah. But he managed to sort of get away with it because at the time he was battling arse cancer. That's not even like he literally had prostate cancer. So the local press sort of went, "Oh, should we attack other people instead then? Because that might seem wrong to attack a man who's dying." He didn't die, unfortunately.
Exactly. That's how I can mock Wes Streeting for having kidney cancer because he lived through it, so it's fine.
Yeah, but it would be funnier if he hadn't. It would be better.
No comment.
It would be better if he hadn't. Well, because that's not a threat. I don't know. That's not terms of service to say I wish he died.
Well, I'm just gonna cover my tracks just in case.
No, that's fair enough. You do that, pussy. You do that.
On push 2025. Let's go.
Whoop, whoop. Anyway, yeah, let's watch this dickhead then, I guess. Let's watch the Laura Koonsberg slop overflow option, which is Trevor Phillips, former head of was it Race and Reconciliation or whatever the fuck it was called. Fucking
yeah, also a policy fellow at Policy Exchange.
Oh, a Tufton.
The far right think tank.
A Tufton wanker, brilliant, awesome.
The usual warning to all politicians this time of year. We're making a list.
Also, sorry,
we're checking it twice.
I'll say thank you to Super Tiny for the 5 gifted memberships and Triple PD for the 5 gifted subscriptioninos over on Twitch. Appreciate the support, both of you. Thank you.
Is that Super Tiny 808?
That is indeed Super Tiny 808.
Or as I called them, Super Tiny Bob, and I've just gone with it.
Super Tiny Bob.
Because I misread it. And it just sounds funnier because it now just makes him sound like a tiny little person, which is very funny. Anyway, Super Tiny Bob, I did not give you permission to watch other people. This is an outrage, although thank you for your generosity, but still.
And we do actually know who's been naughty and who's been nice. Last Christmas, voters gave him their hearts. He was 23 points ahead. Now, they're tearing him apart.
Lol!
The Tories got an early Christmas present.
Did you see, right? Did you see Robert Peston going, I am staggered to see that high-up members of the cabinet are openly suggesting replacing Keir Starmer before the end of next year. And I'm like, you're staggered? You're shocked? This is something you didn't predict? Wow, well, it turns out Cassandra over here at the left, we predicted this ages ago.
Yeah, exactly. Again, being left-wing means being right before the media realise you were right.
Yep.
It just is. It works in every situation.
New leader. But some of her MPs are already muttering, "Where's the receipt? We might need to exchange this one."
It is actually funny
Never
as well.
mind the
On the
frankincense-
on the subject of the Conservative party, it is funny looking at Labour tanking in the polls and the Conservative lines going fucking nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely, literally just not going anywhere. Yeah, amazing shit.
Yep, the beneficiaries of the Labour collapse are entirely the Reform UK and the Green Party.
Well, Reform UK Party, Green Party, and the Apathy Party.
True, actually, loads of them are just saying that they don't want to vote.
Yeah, they're not going to vote because they don't want to vote reform. They were let down by the Lib Dems in coalition. So what option is there? That's why, I mean, I talked about this on Normal Island the other day. The reason that Nigel Farage is able so seamlessly to steal left-wing political ideas, he has no interest in actually implementing them, but he can steal that territory is because it's completely unoccupied by major parties. The Greens are trying their best, and God bless them, and I hope they grow and flower and bloom. But right now, the major parties have completely abandoned that section of the country, which is tens of millions of people.
Yep,
They're not
exactly,
they're just
100%.
not represented by the major parties. So he can say, "Oh, let's nationalise X, Y, and Z," regardless of whether he plans to or not, and win over left-wing people.
Yep, 100%. I agree with you. He always positions himself as the political iconoclast, and now is the time when that is going to be a strong position because people's opinion of Westminster has never been lower.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Are we pitting Keir against the head of lettuce yet? I think that's the 2025 race, isn't it?
What has like a shelf life, which is like can be measured in months?
I don't know. Biscuits.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Packet of biscuits. If you leave them slightly open, they do go a little bit stale, but they're still edible for months.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good one because we need to start the timer on January the 1st and see how long it takes him, right? To get axed.
Yeah.
and myrrh, he's eyeing up Elon's gold. If there's any left after this guy spent $1.5 billion getting elected. So, just how much has the government achieved this year? And what are the prospects for next? I'll speak to the leader of the House of Commons, Lucy Powell. The Conservatives have gone from government to opposition, losing 175 MPs in the process.
That's still funny as fuck. That's beautiful. You do like to see wankers get their comeuppance.
My God, yeah. Like, as much as I think that Nigel Farage is an absolute burgeoning tyrant waiting to destroy the country, I actually the rise of Reform UK is delicious to watch. The Conservative Party as like a political entity, like a 200-year-old political entity, just fucking collapsing on itself with zero support.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm sure attacking Doctor Who will definitely win all of those people back.
And sticking up for millionaires, getting taxed at the same half as much as everybody else.
Yep.
The new leader, but is she having any impact? I'll ask Shadow Housing Secretary Kevin Hollenreg. In less than a month, Donald Trump will be president again. We'll have a new ambassador in Washington.
Could you maybe have less of a boner about that? Could you try? Maybe.
So how do you deal with the Donald on tariffs, on Ukraine, on more? We'll speak to our former ambassador in his first term, Lord
Well, I can't wait for the next ambassador, noted friend of Jeffrey Epstein. Peter
Mutual
Mandelson.
friends.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's why he's been appointed, so he and Donald can bond over their many trips to the island.
Absolutely, yeah, quite. I mean, it's just I don't know how many trips the island Peter Mandelson has made. I couldn't comment on such a thing. I don't have that information to hand. But you know, there's one thing visiting the island. There's another thing visiting him in prison.
That's
having
pretty...
already been charged with the whole international like sex trafficking thing.
Yeah, it's certainly an issue. You would think that would come up in the vetting process. if we didn't have a monumentally corrupt government.
Derek.
Yeah. True. Also, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, raiders. Welcome. You're through to the Justice Stream. We talk about UK politics 6 days a week from a socialist perspective. If that sounds like your thing, please consider dropping a follow Reno. I'm also here with Mr. Kevin Logan. Kevin Logan 1075 or Kev Logan 1075 over on Twitch for more socialist UK-based politics.
Who was the raider?
Oh, sorry. I was I've missed. Oh, so you got Nick. Welcome in, raiders.
There you go.
Growth non-existent. Inflation and borrowing costs.
Like a million
up,
people followed, so I
and
immediately
interest
lost what the raid
rates
was.
not-
That's fair enough, yeah.
So I'm just hearing, I'm literally a communist, like over and over and over again.
Fair enough.
coming down.
Well, now I get the
Just
raid
how bad
notification.
is the economic situation right now? And what
700
can Rachel
people, fucking
Reeves
hell.
do about it?
Nice.
I'll
Fuck
be joined
yeah.
by the former Bank of England Deputy Governor, Sir Charles Bean. Plus, with us throughout the show, former Labour advisor and
Sir Charles B. He's a Roald Dahl character. There's
He
no
is,
way
he is.
Sir Charles B. Chucky Bean. You're having a laugh, mate.
broadcaster Aisha Hazarika,
Oh, piece of shit.
former
Cool.
Conservative advisor Joe Tanner,
Oh, piece of shit.
and the Eye's chief political commentator Kitty Donaldson.
Oh, another piece of shit. Brilliant.
Ooh, it's just a shit sandwich today, isn't it, chat?
But it's girl boss shit.
Girl boss shit. I
Let's
mean, it's
go.
funny. It's like Baroness Hazarika over there. And again, just it's funny for us to discuss the honours list. The people appointed to the Lords by somebody again appointed to the Lords for services to shoe shining.
Basically. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to Sunday Morning with Trevor Phillips. Charles Dickens did not invent Christmas. Some other people did that 2,000 years ago. But his 1843 novella, A Christmas Carol,
Okay, I'm just gonna a little potted history. Christmas wasn't really invented by Jesus or the Jesuses people. Okay, for a start off, it's a process that goes back even further than that. Modern Christmas was changed to be in alignment with the pagan winter festivals, which is literally why the Christmas tree exists. Because they
The
were
phallic
animists.
symbol, right?
They were animists. They believed in the fact that, or the idea that all the plants had like a soul as well, and so they were protecting the essence of nature by bringing the plants indoors. Jesus was born in the summer. We know that because it literally says in the Bible that shepherds were tending their flock. They don't do that in December in the fucking northern hemisphere. Jesus Christ. So it's just bollocks. It's all bollocks. The thing he just said there was totally wrong. Not that
Oh,
it
of course
matters,
it would be.
but, you know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely.
It annoys me. Anyway.
It doesn't. Well, again, because it was deliberately moved as a festival to try
Yeah.
and coincide with any kind of pagan celebration, deliberately when Europe was being Christianized.
Yep.
To try and move people over.
Yeah, and if you think the Crusades were just done against brown people, look again. The Northern Crusades were a thing that happened. And indeed, Eastern Crusades. Basically, anywhere that wasn't totally Christian got made Christian. That's why bizarrely, a lot of Nazis from the Nordic countries despise Christianity. Because it's a Jewish Middle Eastern invader, which overtook their native paganism. It's a fantastic, it's a weird crossover of things. You know.
That's Golden One style Nazism, that is.
Oh yeah, no, that's proper. That's weird shit. Like, you know, someone.
Dickens.
Varg Vikernes, amazing creature. Honestly, when he dies, I will be happy. I'm just gonna put that out there.
We will lack the memes, though. You know, he may be a Nazi, he may be a terrible human being. He may be he murdered someone from Mayhem, right?
He did
Is that the story?
indeed. He did. He murdered.
Yeah.
What was his fucking name? I forget. Anyway, a former friend of his who he accused of being a communist and stabbed to death.
Yeah. So you know, he may be a terrible human being, but he is epic memes.
He is very memey.
High quality memes.
And then brilliantly, because the Norwegian system is so like, I'm going to say it's woke. It's fucking woke. He escaped from prison, armed. He somehow managed to get hold of weaponry, carjacked a family, stole the car, and then hid out in a barn for 2 weeks, and didn't get any extra prison time. Because he'd already been given the maximum that you can serve in Norway.
And yet they'll charge Luigi Mangione with terrorism.
Exactly, like, right, okay. I'm not all for the just lock them up and throw away the key bit, right? But I think there's like, if you carjack people, you get a bit of extra time. Euronymous, that was him. Yes, Euronymous was the man who got murdered.
I know. Well, you learn something new every day. I'm not up on my Scandinavian black metal history. So I did.
I know this because I did the research. He was one of the people in my Descent of Man Osphere series.
Oh yes. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I looked into him and his history, and he's fucking wild. Like, he denies murdering him still to this day, and yet knows all about how the murder took place.
Real O.J. Simpson vibes.
Yeah, like he does. He basically, he's done several videos on his channel, which has now been taken down. So, like, I don't know if they're just
Julian perspective.
Yeah, they're just he done essentially video versions of "if I did it" type stuff. You know, like, motherfucker, piece of shit, man. Anyway, but anyway, he's anti-immigration but lives in France, so.
Actually, it's the same way that Nigel Farage has got a German wife.
Indeed, and German kids and a German passport. No, Belgian passport, I apologise.
He's got fucking Belgian passport. Literally the seat of the European Union.
Well, that's how he qualified for it, apparently.
Yeah.
He'd spent so much time there that by residency he was able to get Belgian passport.
I mean, how easy is it to get that? Because I know for a fact that guy didn't. That guy spent more time in Clacton than he spent in Brussels for all the money he got paid.
Well, did you see the tweet of him, like, guess who I met in Clacton? And it was him with, like, Santa, or obviously a Santa impersonator. It would be weird if Santa took time off at his busiest time of year to go to Essex. It'd be very strange. But and I just thought to myself, well, it's not you then, is it? Because if it's in Clacton, it's definitely not you. No other MP has to advertise, look, I'm in my constituency. Because usually they live there.
Like,
you assume they're
this
there.
Thing that's important for the community to give back to the. No, just hello, look at me. Here's my. I'm sharing location.
Yeah. Amazing shit. But he definitely cares. He's a man of the people. You understand? Yeah.
Absolutely. With his man of the people donor, Elon Musk.
True. I love it. I mean, they did this with Trump as well. Like, Trump had the help of the two richest men on earth to win the election, right? With Musk buying it and fucking Bezos, the piece of shit, who, by the way, you can give $5 of his money to us in the form of subscribing with Amazon Prime. Anyway, he personally intervening to stop the Washington Post from, like, having any kind of journalistic independence. Anyway, and yet he's the populist.
But what the craziest part is that, like, they're like the big thing on the right at the moment is nativism. Nativism is really increased as a political force on the right wing of politics, right? And I'm like, you can't be a nativist and get, like, fucking South African, rich, like, fucking billionaires to bankroll your politics.
I understand why Donald Trump would be anti-migrant, considering a migrant just stole his job as president. You know, like that. I understand that. A South African literally just stole his presidency. So.
It's true. He took our jobs.
They took my Oval Office. Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening. But it genuinely boils my piss. And people on my chat will know this. I bang on about all the time. But obviously for Kev's lot and Raiders as well, in the if there was, like, an actual leftist political party funded through memberships and trade unions like Labour used to be under Jeremy Corbyn from 2015 to 2019, it'd be super easy to be able to rinse Nigel Farage over essentially being having a sugar daddy, having a multi-billionaire, richest man in the world sugar daddy helping bankroll his political campaign, right? It'd be super easy to take it. It'd be super easy to legislate against it because your hands would be clean.
Yep.
And of course, Keir Starmer and Morgan McSweeney and the Politburo, they're all absolutely swimming in dark money. They've got their snouts heavily in the trough. A smaller trough, to be sure, but it's still a trough. Like, the amount of people I've seen who defend Nigel Farage, and their immediate response is, you can't say anything. You took money from Quadrature. You took money from Wahid Ali. You took more money from Martin Taylor and Clive Hollick and Trevor Chin. And I'm like, yeah, they did. They did do that.
Yep.
They have no leg to stand on. They're just, I mean, they might not be as filthy, but they're certainly filthy in the same way. Right?
Well, exactly, yeah. It doesn't matter how much shit you've got on you, you're still covered in shit. Basically, yeah.
Exactly, 100%.
So,
Yeah, absolutely right. And, and like, especially not, right? Especially not when one of the, like, billionaire corporations who you're trying to court, of all of the billionaire corporations you could possibly court, fucking BlackRock. Like, because not only is private equity as a business model parasitic, like, it's the enemy of working. It's the BlackRock are the enemy of every working person, every member of the proletariat, across the fucking, like, the globally, right? BlackRock own, like, a huge percentage of the overall shares of all major companies in the world. That's how much they own. That's how much they've parasited and leached off the rest of society, right? Not only is that just bad prima facie, but in political terms, right? Just going to put my political analyst hat on this one. In that, if you are a Labour Party who's trying to court the votes of reformers, thinking that Reform UK are the big competitors to you coming up to the next election, which I believe is true as well, then why the fuck would you give them the easy thing to prove their, Great Reset, World Economic Forum, Legion of Doom conspiracy theories correct by sitting across from, like, an incredibly expensive dinner table from Larry fucking Fink? It's the worst, most deluded, stupid politics I've ever seen.
It's ridiculous, and yeah, BlackRock are evil, and again, trebuchet is all that needs to be said. But yeah, again, with the right wing, it's always the accusation is always a confession, right? That they spent years banging on about how George Soros was this evil billionaire trying to buy their democracy and wanted to put chips in their brains and all the rest of it. And Elon Musk is literally an evil billionaire who just bought their democracy and literally wants to put chips in your fucking brains.
Absolutely. Again, because it's the dumbest thing about right-wing politics, and liberal politics to be sure as well, is that they're just fighting over which class of billionaire fucking, like, sycophants is the better set of billionaire sycophants. I'm like, well, what about us here, the left, for the people who actually hate the billionaires, right? The one who want to, 1917, right?
Not wanting billionaires to run every aspect of your life in a technocratic dystopian nightmare is student politics.
It's student politics, absolutely, 100%. It's the politics of power. So it's the politics of protest, not the politics of power. Exactly.
Look. The adults are back in the room, and the adults will decide what you eat, and you will eat the bugs.
It's like, and that's what's crazy. They think that the BlackRock are out here trying to make us eat the bugs rather than just parasite off of the entire fucking. Oh God. I mean, I'm not going to go into why I think the World Economic Forum shit is stupid, because I go over it every stream. I know it obviously is funny, but, like, I genuinely, the amount of people who I come across who should mind the whole, like, not generation, I guess, because I'm not going to do generational politics. People are sick of that, and I know why, but a whole subsection of society, their brain's dead. Their brains are fucking gone.
Yeah.
They're turning into absolute demented conspiracy theorists across, like, middle England type people who were sold on capitalism, don't quite get that it's just the nature of the profit motive that's allowed the corporations to essentially absorb and cannibalize huge amounts of our economy, and only noticed when it went for them, which is a recent development, rather than carving up the working classes like they did, from 1979 until 2008. Now it's affecting them. Suddenly they have this kind of epistemic crisis where they can't even imagine that the thing that they support is what's killing them.
It's, again, not to be too new atheist about this, but it's sort of religious in a sense.
100%, yeah.
In the same way that, like, ultra-religious people, when science, like, disproves a part of the Bible, they don't go, well, how do I fit this into my worldview? They just say, well, science is wrong and evil, and it's the product of, Western degeneracy or something, right?
Or there's a fifth column, right?
Oh, exactly,
The whole point about the World Economic Forum is that,
it's not that the thing I believe in is wrong, it's that the people trying to disprove it are wrong. And the same is true here, right? These people, like you say, were weaned on capitalism. And benefited from capitalism all of their lives. Capitalism is essentially, or the pound note has replaced God, and so it can't be that the pound is wrong, or it can't be that capitalism is wrong. It's that the system is somehow being corrupted by, and then you just fill it in with whatever particular conspiracy theory you want. It usually falls back on one particular religious group because there's deeper historical reasons for that. But
hence the reoccurrence of Judeo-Bolshevism as a conspiracy theory.
Exactly, yeah. You can call it cultural Marxism, lads. It means the same fucking thing. We know what you are.
Exactly. Whenever you hear George Soros, right? It's really interesting how they specifically say George Soros, isn't it? I wonder what's specific about him that makes him the target of all of their ire as a liberal billionaire who donates to these kind of things when he's one of many, right? What's specific about him? I wonder.
I couldn't possibly think. What that might be at all.
Yeah, and here we have the richest man in the world proudly endorsing the actual neo-Nazi.
Literally, the literal AfD. And did you see his reasoning? He said, they're not neo-Nazis. I can't find any difference between their policies and the policies of Barack Obama. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's just... it's funny because the liberals will go, how dare you try and compare these things? And I'm just like, well, on the economy, they're probably pretty similar.
Well, no, yeah, true. But, to be fair, Barack Obama... Barack Obama wasn't, trying to kick out all Turkish people. That's the point, I think, yeah.
It's just, and I've said this on stream, I think they should ban Twitter. I think the EU and the UK should ban Twitter.
I'm okay with that, I don't care, yeah.
I don't think democracy can survive Elon Musk having this much power.
Genuinely, I don't think any semblance of democracy can.
Nope.
Because it's the old thing about if you have a benevolent dictator, i.e. a completely apolitical dictator in this instance that just wants to financially reap the benefits, semblance of democracy can last. Not actual democracy, not workplace democracy, not socialism, but the kind of liberal shithouse democracy we have can survive that. But then once you get a politically motivated lunatic who wants to watch the world burn, even though literally the world as it is the reason that he's rich, so he doesn't seem to understand he's kind of soaring at the branch he sits on, I don't
think he wants to watch the world burn. I think he wants people to like him because he's egotistical and he wants to spite his transgender child. I feel like that's basically his entire reasoning for it.
Well, in a way, I think he's created the algorithm by which he's himself been radicalized.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he was always like this, and I think, like you say, his trans kid definitely has tipped him over the edge, and everyone have taken the piss out of him because his then wife ran off with a trans woman. Very funny. So I think that sort of hurt his sort of ridiculously fragile ego. But then the algorithm that he's created on Twitter means he's just had nothing but self-reinforcing fascist wank in his face for the last 2 years, and he's gone mental. Let that sink in.
Well, what's interesting as well, I think people haven't kind of twigged. I think so. There's a stream that went kind of sort of semi-viral, but didn't go super viral like an Elon post would, because it was about a few years ago now, where he started, because he originally was a Democrat because they were a capitalist party, or they still are, you know what I mean, right? But he perceived them to be on his side. They were a corporate party, or he perceived them to be on his side as a corporate party, right? And then he said in his stream that he did, where he said he was moving away from the Democrats, he was leaving the Democrats, was saying that he said, I can't support Republicans because they're the party of big business or whatever, but I can't support the Democrats because they're the party of class action lawyers and unions. Now, of course, unions make a very, very, very small amount of the Democratic Party funding. The unions fund the Democrats because they have nowhere else to go. That's their position, right? They're not a Labour Party in the same way the Labour Party in the UK should be, right? Or the Labour Party in other countries is. So, but what I think genuinely might have moved Elon over to try and support the Republican Party is the fact that there was a pro-Labour appointment to the National Labour Relations Board. He was always like a bell end, back to the Thai miners show. We always knew he was a cunt, of course. But he's for the last 6 years, he's been in this gigantic union battle with the Swedish trade union, IF Metall, over the Tesla right to unionize in Sweden.
Yeah.
And this has created this gigantic fucking secondary and tertiary picket system in Sweden to refuse to stock Tesla parts, to essentially completely cut them off from the economy in solidarity with IF Metall. And I think that he realizes that the fight between his kind of, technocratic, his tech bro oligarchic capitalism is organized labor. And despite the fact the Democrats aren't really a party of organized labor, but they're the closest thing Americans have to it, I think he wants to destroy that. Hence why he was so desperate to seek replace people like Lena Khan, one of like the only few good people at Capitol Hill.
Yeah. Also, let's not underplay the fact that he has a tiny cock and he's trying to make up for that.
Also very true.
Because, obviously. Also, he tried to pay off someone he sexually assaulted with a horse. Which sounds like a Mad Libs that I just made up, but like literally did happen. Look into that story. It's fucking mental.
I mean, someone's saying, Redispy in chat, partly thinks that's why he decided to rename Twitter to show his kid that he can disrespect her. I think he actually renamed Twitter to X because he misses his.
Hey, true. Also, in a very interesting way, he continues to insist on dead naming his child, and yet everyone still dead names Twitter all the time.
My favorite thing is that Wikipedia still has it listed as called Twitter, and it specifically cites the fact just because everyone still calls it Twitter that it's the colloquialism that it is what its name rather than its official name.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. Well, Grok still calls it Twitter.
Grok still.
He invented a fake mate, and his fake mate doesn't agree with him. Like
it's like Toby Young.
Exactly. Even invented bullshit people don't like Elon Musk. Because that's the thing. You can have all the money in the world. You can't make yourself truly liked. You can buy sycophancy, and he absolutely does. If you've seen that video of him and his little fucking mates in the San Francisco office, and they're all just little fucking arse-licking yes men, pieces of fucking garbage. So he's got those people around him, which again, self-reinforcing fascist wank. Yeah, you're brilliant, Elon. Oh, that's a masterful gambit, sir. All of that. But you can't actually make people like you. And nobody who's ever gotten to know this man ever liked him. Even Donald Trump, who he's just bought the election for, doesn't like him.
Sick of him.
Literally, he's like, get the fuck out of my house. You've been living in my fucking house for the last 2 months, you cunt. Leave. Go away. Like, what's he going to do? Like, I mean, they're obviously not going to put him as the Speaker of the House. But if he did get that job, you can't video conference. You'd have to actually be in Washington, D.C., you prick. Fucking hell. He's mad. Yeah. Maybe he'd go and live at the White House as well. Just to annoy Donald Trump. Well, he's got that spare space because there's no way Melania is going to be sleeping next to him, so... Ayo. Buddy up. Yeah.
Or maybe Trump can give him a nice little hand shandy as thanks for all the campaign financing.
Well, I'm sure that happens regularly anyway.
True. I mean, Trump just dances near him and happens by accident.
And the good thing is, because Trump has got Parkinson's, when he gives a hand job, it feels like a woman's doing it because it's shit. No, seriously.
I give excellent hand jobs. Thank you very much.
I'm sure there are some ladies who do, but there are some that think they need to pull your fucking cock all the way over your foreskin, and don't. I've had bad experiences.
For the way we mark the season. Even more important, it helped to define the way we think about urban poverty and inequality. The book's never been out of print, selling over 30 million copies. It spawned hundreds of films, plays, musicals, cartoons, and parodies. In the story, a rich old miser, Ebenezer Scrooge, changes his ways after being shown the misery of London's street children by 3 ghosts. He becomes a generous, warm-hearted patron of the poor, everybody's favourite uncle. Dickens wanted to persuade the Industrial Revolution's growing middle classes that they had a responsibility to those less fortunate than themselves.
But actually, I mean, I do like the works of Dickens. I'll be absolutely straightforward. I think he's a fucking exceptional writer, or was exceptional.
Agreed.
But there is a fundamental flaw in his entire worldview, and it's very much of the Victorian age, and it still sticks with us. It's the idea of charity solving anything. It's not that Scrooge becomes a good person and like convinces other rich people to stop fucking, but no, just hand out individual small amounts of money. Buy a turkey for Tiny Tim and his fucking family. Like, that's going to change anything.
Don't fix any of the actual underlying material relationships here. Just rely on the benevolence of the rich.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
that's sort of the problem. Even though he literally points out the systemic problems in Bleak House, he goes and it's a whole thing about the chancellery laws, right, which is a horrible Byzantine legal system at the time, and so he understands that there are like systemic problems, but he never offers any systemic solution to the problem. It's always just, well, good people will sort it out, which is very optimistic and very stupid. It's very annoying, actually.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
And to quote the greatest Prime Minister of all time, Mr. Clement Attlee, charity is a cold, grey, loveless thing. If a rich man wants to help the poor, he should pay his taxes gladly, not dole out money on a whim.
True, but he was a communoid.
The funny thing is that he was absolutely a vocal and committed anti-communist. It's so
He
funny
was.
to me that
He was, yeah.
just how much the right wings opinions on like social democracy are so delusional.
Yeah.
It's like, and especially when like there's this kind of weird Ouroboros where they will quote the socialist George Orwell, thinking that he's pro-capitalism, forgetting that his anti-communism is from like a libertarian Marxist perspective, even though he then also ratted out communists and socialists to the British government. Weird man.
Yeah.
He succeeded. Within months, Parliament had limited the hours worked by children and made daily schooling compulsory. There may be...
Do you think that was down to the book? That, like, not many people could even read or afford to buy at the time? Like, what the fuck is... Honestly, liberals are so weird. Do you think Charles Dickens writing a book, which, by the way, wasn't even written as a book, because they never were, they were always written as serialised stories that were then compiled into books. Doesn't
Fan
matter.
fiction, basically.
Yeah, he wrote a fucking newspaper fiction bit each week, and then you'd get like they compile them together into a massive fucking book with stupid names like Martin Chuzzlewit. Like, come on now, right? But the point is, do you think for a second that actually had any impact on the virtually unelected? Because about fucking 6% of the population could even vote at this point, and even most major towns didn't have an MP. That was just a thing that existed until the late 19th century. Do you think for a second that book or that series of serialised bits in the newspaper affected the fucking child labour laws? Or do you think it was maybe like Chartist rebellions and trade unions and stuff?
Exactly,
like,
organised labour.
Yeah, exactly. Come on now.
It's like when anyone fucking says like, oh well, FDR, he was the saviour of American politics, and he passed good policy. There was a reason why he was popular, but he did what he did because there was pressure from to his left to do so.
And to
there
be
was
fair,
organised labour in the background, right? That policy was passed to satiate the whims of the people, not because FDR was some kind of fucking individually great man.
True, well, exactly. The great man of history needs to fucking die. But yeah, and to be fair to FDR, he literally told Labour leaders that this was the case, right? When he was elected, he said, "Don't rest on your laurels. You need to force me to do this. You need to force Congress to do these things." Because they're not going to. The rich are already going to be fucking fighting against it. You need to fight equally as hard the opposite way. So he wasn't stupid.
People who hope that Rachel Reeves is going to wake up this Christmas morning, throw open her windows, shout out a Merry Christmas to all, and announce the restoration of winter fuel allowances to all pensioners. Forget it. The Chancellor, as far as I know, doesn't believe in supernatural spirits.
Although she is a ghoul. So.
I mean, to be fair,
Unless, of course,
there are probably plenty of people in the UK politics need to be visited by some ghosts before Christmas.
True. Very much so.
Although in the case of Rachel Reeves, it will just be the ghosts of all of the old people she's frozen.
Yeah, I was about to say they need to be visited by ghosts or become one. In Minecraft. Just in a little ghost in Minecraft, you know?
I can't believe you're telling Rachel Reeves to join the Ku Klux Klan.
Well, she'd have to move to the left to do that. What are you talking about? She's not going to do that.
The ghost of Christmas yet to come shows up with a chart suggesting that Labour's abysmal poll ratings might persist into the next election due by mid-2029, unless she changes her ways. Well, stay with us. Who knows what might appear in the next hour or so. Let's start this morning with the government. I can speak now to the leader of the House of Commons, Lucy Powell. Good morning.
Good morning, Trevor.
can we just start with story in the papers this morning? Are you intending to change the law to block large donations by Elon Musk to parties such as Reform UK?
Well, we've no immediate plans to do that, but we do have.
Fucking useless cunts.
Did you see what they said to the press? Right? Did you know what they briefed to the press about this?
No, what
Their
did they
press
say?
briefing was, "We think we can beat them in the marketplace of ideas."
You are fucking joking.
I know. It's just pathetic, isn't it? So pathetic.
Okay.
It shows you how fucking lib pilled the Labour Party is nowadays.
Yeah, we're absolutely cooked, lads. There's no point bothering. Elon Musk is he's coming. He's going to buy our election. This is fucking embarrassing. The Labour Party are a joke. Get in the dustbin with the Tories. You're useless.
Very, very useless indeed.
Manifesto commitment to look more broadly at our elections regime in this country, from things like votes at 16, which we're committed to, but also to make sure that our electoral system
electoral reform
has got that integrity and is.
I was about to say, yeah, you can't praise your fucking manifesto when literally everything you've done is against what the manifesto said you were going to fucking do. We're going to get rid of the House of Lords. No, we're going to reform the House of Lords. No, we're just going to stack it with all our fucking mates. We're gonna get the Waspi within justice. No, they're not getting a fucking penny. Like, you don't have a mandate to do any of this.
Yeah. The crazy thing, right, is I actually was against the Waspi, like the blanket Waspi compensation. I think it's fairer now that you have the equal state pension age. But whatever. The Ombudsman came back and reasonably said that there was some compensation for those who weren't notified.
Yeah.
Due to hardship, right? I think that was 100% reasonable. It wasn't even like that much. It was like between 3.5 and 10 billion over a number of years as well as would have been doled out. I'm like, too much. Even that was too much. And yet they found 6 billion, correctly, by the way, I might add, to buy back some PFI MOD buildings to stop paying rent to the people they'd sold off to. The dumbest fucking stupid thing the John Major government did, amongst many others, right? They found that 6 billion overnight, yet. Yeah, again, just apparently, what could only have been 3.5 billion for Waspi women's payouts. I'm just like,
yeah.
It feels like they just want to lose.
Yeah.
Like, what groups are left that the Labour Party haven't pissed off? Like, they pissed off students. They pissed off pensioners.
Just technocrats.
Yeah. Even the group of people who have been part of their kind of base now, which is the fucking FBP Belen Brigade, right?
Yes.
The people who their only particular policy platform they care about is Brexit, and that's it. Brexit and people looking sensible, right? Plenty of Remain types, plenty of people who are pro-European Union, who have nuanced politics. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the hashtag FBP Brigade, the kind of people who went to the People's Vote protest with signs about how their dogs can go skiing, right?
Yeah.
Those are the people who are totally bought into the Keir Starmer campaign on vibes alone, and he still spurned them by going on about making Brexit work, whilst it takes like a massive chunk out of our economy.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you were making a very fine point there about the Waspi situation. I had a donation, so my people didn't hear a fucking word of it, but that's fine. Just trust me, it was a very good point. And thank you to the person who donated.
So thank you, Jack Miller, for the 20 gifted. Nice. I did see some people did some subscriptions before, in amongst like the absolute tidal wave of new followers from all of the raiders. I missed any of the other subscriptions that you did. So if you did subscribe or you did give me money or you gifted bits, I missed it. Thank you, everybody, for the support. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Also, I've set a goal on YouTube, which I do for no real reason, because there's no point to it. But I just like it because it's a thing that probably helps the algorithm, because it's YouTube's new thing. So if you want to donate a $2 super chat, I'll hit the goal for no reason. I'm not going to do anything for it. Literally, I'm going to do nothing. But you can do it nonetheless. Anyway.
Whoa. You say nothing. You say nothing. Remember last time we were streaming together and we proved scientifically through the immortal science of Kevinism, Helenaism, that if you gift 20 memberships, you will be achieved full communism.
That is full communism. That is
That's
how it
basically
works.
it's full communism. Donating money to your favourite Twitch streamers. That's true activism. That's how the revolution starts. Not by organising in your workplace or going to organisations or agitating politically. No, none of that. No actual real material organisation. Donating to your favourite Twitch streamer or YouTube streamer in that case.
Yeah.
That is how we achieve full communism.
Literally.
Donations are praxis.
Literally, yeah. And the more you donate, the more communister it is. And when you donate a whole load, you become super communism.
And so exactly.
Fact.
Right.
Robust from many of the new issues that face undermining our democracy and our elections. But just to be clear, that foreign donations to UK-based political parties is prohibited under current law. So,
and that's definitely enforced very well. And then totally, the Russians aren't funding the Tory party at all. No, that's fine. Nope. That's great.
No, exactly. It's not like the son of a KGB member got made put in the House of Lords or anything.
No, it's
Ignore
fine.
that.
No, that's great. And definitely not his daughter. Honest. It's not his daughter. What would you say that? Just because literally you don't need a DNA test, just look at them for fuck's sake. It's fine. It's fine.
That's something that already exists.
Mr. Musk's biggest firm, Tesla, did make something like £90 million in its UK branch this year. So
That's interesting. How did he get 300 billion then? Where did that come from?
I wonder.
He could spare the money. But I noticed the word immediate in your answer there. It's doing a lot of work. So actually something could happen in this parliamentary term, maybe.
Well, we are committed to bringing forward some changes to the way in which elections are run in this country. There will be an elections bill, probably in the next parliamentary session, but obviously we've not made those decisions yet, because we are committed to things like votes at 16, which is in our manifesto. And our manifesto also said that we would look at other issues to make sure that our elections in this country
Oh yeah, sorry.
are
Pause
fair,
1 second,
are
Kev.
robust.
I also want to say first, thank you, Leopard, for the 20 gifted. And we've now gone from full communism to permanent revolution. Appreciate you. First of all, it's socialism within one donation, and now it's the permanent revolution, right?
True.
Sorry. But yes, very well pointed out, Eric, the writer. This is the same Lucy Powell that last time she was on the Trevor Phillips show. She said that if we didn't freeze grannies, there would be a run on the pound.
Literally. Which is
Thank you,
the same economic principle as giving money to a YouTuber means communism.
Also, I'd like to say thank you to Condemn Hummus for following. Excellent. Richie.
Yes. And we do. We absolutely do condemn
We absolutely do
hummus.
condemn hummus. Although I will not condemn any specific brand of hummus specifically.
Well, that would be anti-Semitic,
because
yes.
that would get my Twitch channel taken down.
Are free from many of the issues that are undermining our democracy at the moment, like mis and disinformation, foreign state actors and so on, and making sure that the issues around donations are also fair and robust as well.
So to be clear, the bill could contain something on donations. That's very helpful to know. Let's turn to...
No, it isn't. What are you talking about? No! Honestly, Trevor Phillips is more insane than Laura Kuenssberg. Well, so the bill might contain something about the thing I just asked. That's very interesting to know. It could also contain a recipe for a good fucking chicken korma. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. It could contain anything. What?
It's interesting because, Trevor Phillips is allied with this wing of the Labour Party and has been for a very long time. Weird how he's not questioned them heavily. Just like when fucking Ed Balls interviewed his fucking wife on Prison.
Would that be his wife who's also the fucking Home Secretary?
The Home Secretary.
Amazing. What, don't you just love democracy? It'd be a shame if Elon Musk undermined the perfect nature of our perfect democracy.
Exactly. It's just so pathetic, right? And again, all of this endless coverage, rightly so, of course, that we have all this coverage of Elon Musk trying to buy our democracy. Where was this coverage for the £4 million donation from a Cayman Islands-based hedge fund to the Labour Party? Crickets, fucking... The only people I've seen talk about it on mainstream media are members of the Green Party, right? It's Joe Biden and Zach Polanski.
Yeah. Communists, yeah.
One of the stories of this week. Ministers say that there is no case for compensation for the so-called Waspi women. Some of your backbenchers disagree. Are you going to give them the opportunity to have a debate in the House of Commons and a vote on the issue?
Well, you know, back.
Are you mental? They'll lose. They'd probably lose that fucking vote, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, bizarrely...
Imagine having, right, you know, what's it, like an 160 odd seat majority? Something like that?
Yeah.
Imagine having this absolutely gigantic majority and losing a vote in the Commons.
Well, bizarrely, it would rely on the Tories having to vote against their own policy for that to happen as well, which they definitely would, because they've got no principle at all.
It's true.
Because their policy is fuck the Waspy women as well, right? So they'd have to vote to not fuck the Waspy women, even though it's their policy to do so, in order to embarrass the Labour Party. And I'm here for it. Fuck it. Political chicanery all the way down. Let's go.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is that this just shows you just how ridiculous and again, someone's calling it pantomime in chat, right? How much how politics is just pantomime. It is just theatre.
Yeah.
It's choreographed, essentially.
Yeah.
It's because like this position over the Waspy women, all it happens is whoever's in government says the thing that both parties agree on, and then everyone else opposes it for the sake of it, regardless of the position. Again, the only people who have any consistent position on this, or on the two-child benefit cap, or on the winter fuel allowance means test, it's just the left. It's just the left who've consistently held the same position, which is universal benefits are good, and compensation for people wronged by the state is good, right? Really consistent positioning, and yet the Tories and Labour will just take the fiscally austere position, and then we'll posture either in government or opposition that the other team is doing the bad thing because reasons. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Same thing with NHS privatisation.
Yeah.
Ps can bring about debates in many different ways, and I'm sure we will see that in the new year. That's something that got raised with me quite a bit on Thursday in my business questions session that I do on a Thursday. So I'm sure there will be a debate.
The business one is always really funny, because essentially it amounts to opposition MPs going, can we have time in parliamentary time to debate X thing that would embarrass the government? And then then she stands up and goes, no you fucking can't, and sits down for an hour. That's basically it. Which it was especially galling when fucking Jacob Rees-Mogg was the leader of the House, because he'd always do some weird shit, and go something in Latin, blah blah blah, and then sit down. Like,
yeah. But for people who don't know, whenever Jacob Rees-Mogg says anything in Latin, this is random shit that he's memorised from a Latin phrase book. He's never studied Latin. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He just memorised some popular Latin phrases to make himself look smart. That's how pathetic he is as a man.
He really is. He really is.
He literally got asked, like, to his face, what was he? He compared a politician to some like famous Roman figure, or some famous like figure in antiquity,
like Cato or some shit. Yeah.
Exactly, and was asked what this particular family did that they were being compared to, and couldn't tell you because he just memorized some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
To sound posh.
Yeah. Sort of the intellectual equivalent of like posturing as an expert on the Middle East and literally streaming yourself, reading a Wikipedia page and saying, when did Erdogan become president of Israel?
I was literally thinking that Israel was in Anatolia.
Amazing.
So I mean, it's honestly like wearing a band T-shirt. It's like Miley Cyrus wearing a Metallica band T-shirt. I don't like Metallica anyway, but it's 100% Miley Cyrus.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Oh, so you love Israel? Name 3 of their big songs then.
Yeah, name three of their biggest massacres.
True.
Oh dear.
I'm
going to hell.
It doesn't have to be.
Aren't we all?
Voted on in that sense.
You say you're going to hell. We already fucking live there. What are you talking about?
True. No, to be fair, the fires of hell are far too warm to be able to.
Exactly. You can't freeze pensioners to death in the 7th Circle.
It's true. You can't freeze, and of course there is no water to be full of shit in hell.
True.
So I'm saying that this country is worse than hell.
Yeah, literally.
Damns to hell.
So this is
quote unquote
government
British citizenship.
Yeah.
to the parliamentary ombudsman report. But look, I understand people are really disappointed about that decision, but we've had to think about that decision in the round on the very specific issue that the Ombudsman was looking at, which was miscommunication, or was there a case of miscommunication from 2004? And what we decided was that the kind of compensation that the Parliamentary Ombudsman was proposing, which would have amounted to £10 billion, was not proportionate to their findings in that particular instance. Of course, the real challenge that many of the Waspi women and where the Waspi campaign really came from was George Osborne's decision in 2011 to massively accelerate.
Before we dump on the Tories,
and the Ombudsman wasn't looking at that.
I'm
just saying that the Ombudsman wasn't.
She's been there. This is what the Ombudsman was looking at. Yeah, looking at the example of miscommunication, and it said that there was, and a non-zero number of people required compensation to the tune of 3.5 to 10 billion pounds. Yeah. Yes, you can't just quote the Ombudsman or the Ombudsman's decision that goes against you to reify your position, Lucy. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. Also, it's interesting that they have to take the independent Ombudsman's advice when it comes to raising their own pay in Parliament. But not so much with the Waspi women.
No.
Intriguing, that.
Looking at that particular issue, that's already been looked at.
You are in government now. You are in government now. You put
well
your name
done, Trevor.
when you're in opposition to a Commons motion supporting this campaign. Many of your colleagues were out on the demos supporting them. You knew what the numbers were. Why didn't you tell the women at that point that you weren't going to be able to find the 10?
Because they wanted their votes then. Whereas now they can go fuck themselves. But thankfully there will never be another election, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, it is infuriating looking at the whole swathe, like the absolute daily, constant political journalism and media coverage that we get. Right, it's really accelerated in recent years. Just look absolute kind of rapid fire political analysis we get, and how little of it is just admitted. Yes, it was all based on lies.
Yep. Like
it's super simple. They had a really, really effective political campaigning tactic to win the election, which was just a fucking lie.
Yeah.
It's such a simple fact, and we can't just have any coverage just going, well, it's just lies all the time, didn't he? It's the point which, again, I said before, ITV, when they were discussing this very issue, they couldn't even call him a liar. They used the ridiculous phrase that he has an honesty problem. It's like talking about like a fat cunt like me and saying that I have a consumption problem. Like, no, I'm just fat. Like,
well, look, the fats unite. Let's go.
True, absolutely, you know.
Yeah. But anyway, you're with Keir Starmer. The secret ingredient is mendacity.
£billion.
Well, of course, this report was actually published in March this year, just before the general election. We didn't have a commitment in our manifesto.
Oh, shut the fuck
what the scale of it
at all, or
shut. You had been out there campaigning with them, and at no point did you row that back before the election.
Did you see what Helena Dollimore said about this? Right?
No. What did they say?
Can you guess? I'll give you one singular guess who she blamed for why they're getting hammered over the Waspi women stuff. Can you guess what this Labour MP's new intake?
Let me guess. Jumbly Crumbly Concrete.
It was the jam man himself, Mr. Jumbly Crumbly Concrete, Jeremy Corbyn himself. She was literally out there. They released group text, and it's very funny. You can tell how genuinely upset a bunch of MPs were about the decision by the government. And Helena Dollimore comes in with this very well constructed rebuttal, apparently talking about how, well, it's terrible, but we had to do it because of the finances, but we should really blame Corbyn for promising to remunerate Waspi women in 2019. And it's just like, it's so obvious to me who's a plant being fed the lines by the Starmer Politburo, and she was genuinely upset by it. It's just like her wall of text in the middle of like genuine feelings of sadness. And remember, it's really worth pointing out again, Helena Dollimore specifically parachuted in. They had to get rid of the popular councillor from that seat, and she was parachuted in from a seat she doesn't even live in. She's from a different seat, and she went to Oxford, of course.
Naturally.
And she's good mates with people as well, of course.
Naturally.
Oh, and she worked for a fucking multinational company. Who was it she worked for? Unilever. She was a manager at Unilever.
Lovely.
So just again, and the local councillors becoming MPs off the back of their constituents. No, we're going to insert people who've worked at fucking Unilever into our quote-unquote Labour Party. It's pathetic, isn't it?
It's fucking ridiculous. Honestly, I'm not voting for these cunts ever again.
No,
Ever.
I would rather drink my own vomit.
Fair play.
In this report. Well, look,
I did
as
say she had
say,
drips, Ollie, that's true.
I was an MP, actually I wasn't an MP, but I was working in Parliament in 2011 when George Osborne made this big decision to really accelerate bringing forward the pension age for women, which is what really gave rise to this whole campaign. And the Labour Party in Parliament at that time, we put down amendments. We opposed that at the time. That issue was looked at separately.
You weren't against George Osborne's equalising the pension age at all.
We thought that we absolutely raised concerns at that time about bringing that forward so quickly, and obviously.
No, but that's not the point he made. He said you didn't oppose him raising the state pension age, which, as the Labour Party, you should have.
Yep.
That was the thing that caused the campaign, if you like, and the sense of injustice.
What
you know what the problem here
as a
is?
government.
Valley for me says, weren't they also against Osborne bringing in the 2-child benefit cap? The Labour right weren't. Or again, Solar Defrag points to Anchat. Basically, most of the PLP are the Labour right at this point anyway. But in 2015, the Labour right weren't against it. Harriet Harman whipped the Labour benches to abstain on the 2-child benefit cap as part of the welfare bill in 2015, which was during the leadership election. And very funny story for people who don't know. This is basically why Jeremy Corbyn became leader of the party. Andy Burnham was considered to be the favourite, and he was the big challenger as being somebody who wasn't as visibly linked to the worst excesses of Blairism, unlike people like Kendall and Cooper at the time. And the Cooper and Kendall camp decided that they wanted to kneecap Burnham to try and get Cooper more likely to win. So they didn't tell him that they were going to abstain on the 2-child benefit cap. So he then spoke out against it. He was opposed to the 2-child benefit cap. He spoke at a hustings that they said that they weren't going to go to, but didn't tell him. So he turned up at a hustings on his own, said this stuff. It got reported, and then he was forced to vote against it, which he did as part of the whip under interim leader Harriet Harman. And because he'd now voted against a thing, voted for or abstained on a bill that he said that he was going to be against, everybody in the Labour Party thought, well, maybe starving children is bad. Immediately said, well, we're never voting for Andy Burnham after he's betrayed us, so we're going to support Jeremy Corbyn, the only anti-austerity candidate. So this is specifically why they wanted to have a proper vote over the 2-child benefit cap and make it a key part of the new Labour government this year, is because they were trying, again, using starving children, I remind everybody, as a metric with which that they could settle decades-old beef over the leadership election in 2015. That's literally why they are sticking with the 2-child benefit cap right now, is to spite the people who voted for Corbyn in 2015 because of this issue that stopped them from shutting out the left in that period. That's how pathetic. That is the absolute level of genuinely pathetic behaviour you get from people in the Labour Party. Again, starving children to settle beef.
Well, yeah, because they're just political pawns, aren't they?
Yep.
They're just, starving children are just there to be used rather than to be helped in any way. Why would you do that? That would be a good example. That'd be crazy. Yep. So basically, they sort of James Cleverley'd themselves.
Yep,
by promoting the candidate they thought they could beat in the final, they actually ended up completely destroying their own campaign.
Exactly, and again, it's just because it was that vote in Parliament because of the Harriet Harman whip that really kind of broke apart the party to create the Corbyn era.
Yeah.
And so they deliberately and desperately wanted there to be another vote. They wanted to rerun the vote and use it as a tool to get rid of 7 MPs from Parliament who voted against the government, and that's exactly what got from the PLP. That's exactly what they did to RLB and Imran Tahir and Zara Sultana and that lot.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
Okay,
as
carry
a
on.
government today, what we were having to look at was this particular report that was looking at whether there was sufficient communication back in 2004, and we accepted that, that's why we apologised that wasn't done properly. But what we didn't and what we couldn't agree to in the context of the public finances, but also as a proportion, something that was proportionate to that findings about miscommunication from 2004 was a £10 billion price tag. But what I would say, and I really do understand people's concerns about this, is that the value of the state pension obviously has significantly increased over that time with the triple lock, and also with the single tier pension that came in 2016. Women particularly have now benefited from that single tier state pension.
We understand that. Look, but this is an issue of fairness. Last month, your government gave retired mine workers an uplift adjustment to their pensions, which is going to cost the government £1.5 billion. You didn't have to legally, but Ed Miliband described it as a scandal, and you found the money. What's the difference between the mostly male mine workers and these women?
Honestly, this is the thing. Identity politics minus any class aspect is worthless.
Did you see the Munya Chihuahua clip?
Oh God, yeah. He's an embarrassment. Like, again, it's liberalism. Liberal ID politics is a betrayal of the people that identity politics is supposed to protect.
And that's what's tilting, is that, you know, there are plenty of reasonable points to say that, well, would there have been the same treatment of Luigi Mangione if he was a black man who committed the same act? And you're right, there would be some kind of differences in opinion, but even the identity politics side of this would not have been able to overcome the class consciousness that it created, no matter the race of the perpetrator in this case, right?
Yeah, I'd have wanted
perfectly reasonable to say that there would have been different reactions, but the broad reaction probably would have been very similar, and it's unfalsifiable.
Yeah, I'd have wanted to suck his dick regardless of his skin colour. I'm just putting that out there.
Well, so again, it's just tilting. Time and place, Munya. But then again, that was the guy who used to have 9 gardeners. So it's a true story. Is it literally? There's a clip of him on Taskmaster talking about how he used to have 9 gardeners.
Oh God Almighty! There you go.
Well, look, that's a long-standing injustice for our mine-working community that's been going on for a very long time. And this, as I say, wasn't actually, the Ombudsman report wasn't about whether the decision to bring forward...
See, the Labour Party are going to have this problem constantly of them trying to depoliticise or to try to focus on the idea that it's not a political decision that's being made, it's necessity. When it comes to them denying something, but then when they give in on a certain area, them going, well, that's also necessity somehow. Like, you can't have it both ways. You are picking and choosing things that you think are worth investing in and things you don't think are worth investing in. And you're going to have to, at some point, put on your big boy pants and make and defend the fact that you're giving, say, $3 billion to Ukraine every year for the next million years, possibly, but also freezing pensioners. That is a decision and a calculation you have made. Stop pretending it's the only decision that could possibly have been made. No, it's not true.
Exactly. And unless you actually come up with a narrative that works, because it's very reasonable to say, you know, we shouldn't be giving money to Waspi women, even if it's not the full amount, whatever, but the Ombudsman, whatever, right? Unless you come up with a coherent narrative, and you just try and fill the air with difficult decisions and platitudes, right? All that will happen is people will go, you gave our money to them. It happened with the universal winter fuel payment. It immediately happened because it was correlated with the same time they gave pay rises to doctors and nurses. Again, very reasonable to give those pay rises. Absolutely agree with that policy. Don't agree with the means test winter fuel payment, though. What was the immediate line the right went with? They've given money to their union paymasters instead of giving money to the old people. And you should be able to do both. But without, unless you can tell people why you've done that, all people will do is say, I've been deprioritized as a political unit, and that means they won't vote for you again.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, my goal on YouTube, everybody, for the super chat is yet to be reached. It's almost like you don't want me to not do nothing. It's almost like you don't want to give me money for free. Which, like, what's that about? What's that about? What kind of communism is this?
Because communism is the freedom for Kevin to spend most of his Sunday asleep and then work for 3 hours.
Exactly. That's communism, okay? If you don't like it, get in the gulag.
Literally, the
So it
Tesco
works.
Gulag.
True. The
Straight to the Isle
G4S
straight to the Isle of
Gulag.
Sheppey. Absolutely. We'll have one on the Isle of Sheppey and one on Ascension Island, right?
Yeah, exactly.
100%. But I mean, in all seriousness, the reason why we can continue doing what we do is because of the support of viewers. And you can always support us financially to help us do that by subscribing on Twitch, $4.99 free at Twitch Prime, by dropping bits for text to speech, by I think it's 100 for me, 200 for Kev. You can become a member on YouTube for 99p, which is of course cheaper than a can of Red Stripe. You can gift your memberships to your fellow viewers, and of course you can super chat with the messages you want us to read out.
Exactly. Yeah, that was very, very concise.
Pension age in 2011 so quickly that their report wasn't about whether that was fair or not. That's already gone through a process, and it was found to be fair and just at that time. This was quite a specific sort of report from around what happened in 2004 and whether it was communication. And we've just got to, as a government, sort of take a decision whether the recompense for that was proportionate to that charge. And it was found that actually 90% of women in 2004.
Okay, if 90% of them didn't, find the 10%. Give the money
exactly.
to the 10%, because like what you're saying there is 1 in 10 were fucked over. Well, that's
It's
an injustice that you could recompense people for.
Yeah, it's like saying, well, 90% of the population in Gaza are still alive, and I'm just like, yeah, that doesn't excuse the war crimes, mate.
Well, apparently it does.
I mean, it's fine. Literally every single one of those children, they were all Hamas babies.
They were. Can we be sure? Can we be sure that there weren't tunnels underneath every baby?
True.
I can't say. I don't have that kind of geological training. I don't know.
Exactly. There was a Hamas command and control center inside that baby's head.
Yeah. Exactly. Literally. A copy of Mein Kampf in the mind. Mind Kampf! Sorry.
Mind Camp. Pristine English copy, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thank you to 2 people. You've triggered the thing. Thank you, Jordan, who says, if Kev does nothing, he's fingering a fash slyly. That is true. Who did I finger the other day? Oh, yeah, I had to break into Windsor to finger the Queen.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Lovely. Yeah, we were a nice day out.
Yeah, right, lovely.
Oh, it's a beautiful castle, that. Anyway, and thank you, Katie Marshall, with £2, who says, Viva la Revolution. Which, I mean, it's the Kevolution. So,
True.
I don't know what you're talking about there, but thank you.
The pension age was being brought forward at that point.
All right, let's talk about the economy. We're closing out the year. 2 months of zero growth. Bank of England reckons it's going to be a quarter of zero growth. Inflation's up. Borrowing costs are up. Business confidence down. Are you embarrassed at the gap between the pre-election promises you made of change and growth and what's actually happened?
I'm not. I mean, obviously, it's disappointing, these figures. You know, of course, we want to see these things happening faster. We want to see more growth.
It's almost like talking about $22 billion or £billion every 5 seconds might make people jittery in terms of investment.
Exactly. It's funny watching all of the monetarists just continually try and say that the economy is something that you can it's all tangible. It's all entirely out of equations and algorithms that you can plug into, and you can create definitive results on what's going to happen. Well, no. Keynes was right. It's animal spirits. That's what it is. All it is animal spirits, and animal spirits are bad because Rachel Reeves had a sad face when she delivered the budget. I wish I could tell you that this was wrong, but it's absolutely 100% true. Rachel Reeves went, well, the economy is very sad. And then the investors, well, if the economy is sad, then the line goes down, so we're not investing. That's what happened.
No, have you thought about cutting taxes and killing all the poor? That's all you need to do, right? Thank you, Marcus Draco says, spend your time fingering a lot of queens, do you? Yeah. Yeah.
What of it?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I wear them like rings. Partner push 2027.
In the economy, and we want to see that faster, but really so that it can be felt by ordinary people around the country. But this is a bit like turning around some huge oil tanker, and the underlying problems.
To be fair, Keir Starmer is a right tanker. That is true.
So you're Cockney right?
Exactly. Well, I am. Well, I'm a crafty Cockney con man. Absolutely.
True. Absolutely.
which are unprecedented and huge, which is why people voted for change, because they could see
I
quite
finger
honestly,
pearly queens.
going into that election,
Hey-oh!
the country was going down the Swanee. We had
Down
living
the
standards falling
Swanee!
for the first time.
I haven't heard the phrase "down the Swanee" since about 1996. That's amazing. God, we've had Chinaman, we've had down the Swanee. Oh, what a time to be
I can't
alive!
get over that George Galloway clip.
Chinaman.
Like
They eat rice for breakfast. God damn it!
Not like only come out and saying the really dumb shit about what we can't support these people because they ate rice for breakfast because they're Chinaman, but saying the genuine phrase, "I am done fighting for the Arabs."
Yeah, there was it's like there was a time in my life where I fought for the Arabs. That time is over.
So
What are you talking about, you mad cunt? So you weren't ever fighting for the Arabs. You were just fighting for the Assad family. What? You know, because Arabs are still a thing. Even though Assad's gone, all of the other Arabs are still there. Like, what are you doing?
In our history, going into that general election, we've had public services, particularly health and education, absolutely on their needs, in dire state of investment. And coming into government, we've had to really take some very difficult decisions. The inheritance and the public finances were even worse than we thought. We've had to
Liar.
take some
If you don't mind,
but we are starting to turn that oil tanker around.
if you don't mind, you have told
seems
me
like whoa.
3 times.
But it seems like the oil tanker is stuck. It's stuck in the Suez Canal.
True. That joke's evergreen. Because the ship was called Evergreen.
It's true.
I am
true.
so fucking clever. Honestly, you should give me money just because I'm so fucking clever.
Well, I'm turned the soundboard back on so people can use the Galloway soundboard thing
Yes.
whilst we're on the subject.
Throbbing.
Robbing.
Already this morning that it's somebody else's fault. But the Bank of England governor, Andrew Bailey, actually said it wasn't that. It was the October budget. He said that growth will probably be 0 for the quarter, partly arising out of the measures you took in the budget. And I'm quoting him here. He says, with the heightened uncertainty in the economy, we can't commit to when or by how much we will cut rates in the coming year.
Yeah, because they've just continued to do austerity. So why would you expect different results? It's the same fucking thing.
It is interesting to me. I still broadly defend the increase in national insurance employer contributions, But it's funny that plenty of people on the left have made legitimate criticisms that of all the taxes they could have raised, this was the worst one, and they have essentially boxed themselves into doing it because of the taxes they say they wouldn't have raised in the manifesto.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
He doesn't say this is all the Tories. He says this is your decisions.
I didn't say it was somebody else's fault. I said we were beginning to turn.
No, you've
the
just said
oil
to me 3
tanker
times,
around.
George
Look,
Osborne and Tories.
No, that was in answer to a previous question about Waspi, which was a particular decision that George Osborne took at that time. But we're trying to turn this oil tanker around. And look, we take a fundamental view here about fixing the foundations, which is about bring some economic
Everyone take a drink.
stability, which means making sure that the budget adds up, which was something that we didn't inherit. We inherited this big black hole in the public finances, which was fixing the foundations of the economy.
Jesus, all right, you're getting paid by the fixing the foundations now. Jesus. Madness.
So have a fundamental view that in order to have a growing economy over the medium and long term, you also have to have a healthy economy and a healthy society as well, because it's no coincidence that we've got 7 million people waiting for an operation in this country, and we've got such high numbers of people out of work, inactive and on sickness benefits and so on in this country. And that's why we took the decision in the budget. It was a difficult decision, and it's had consequences.
Difficult decision. She's on a speed run. We've had two fixing the foundations, a black hole, and fucking whatever the last one was.
Difficult
decisions. Yeah. Honestly,
oh my God, I wonder if she'll say her dad was a tool maker.
Yeah, the programming's gone fucking rogue. She starts going on about Pebble Dash semis.
done that with the national insurance rise, but we took the decision to put a record level of investment into our National Health Service to bring down those waiting lists. Because if you're waiting for a hip operation or something like that, it's incredibly debilitating. You can't work, you can't go to work. And these chronic factors in our economy...
Again, it's always about you as a unit of production in the economy. You're not a person anymore to these people. You're not a human being whose quality of life matters. The government isn't there for the benefit of the humans that exist in the country. No. They just need to get you back on the production line.
But have you considered, Kevin, that the red line go up equals world more gooder?
I forgot the stonks. Yeah. No, fair point.
Lack of housing supply, a sick economy,
All right.
a sick population, a poor education, poor skills are what is holding our country back. And that's why our budget had to take these big decisions to get money into the front line of those services.
All right. Can I talk to you about a decision which is all yours, and it's nothing particularly to do with the past? List of the new appointees to the House of Lords appeared a couple of days ago. Why is someone who was sacked as Chief of Staff after 100 days, because apparently she wasn't up to the job, being given a life peerage?
Whoa, hang on, whoa. What about her services to running pubs in Ireland during the Troubles for some reason?
Well, look, if they ever need a bill that needs to be kneecapped, I reckon she knows how to do that. It's fine. You know, if they need some legislation to disappear, I reckon they could probably, you know, she's probably got experience in that area, I imagine.
Possibly comment.
Anyway, all of them. Virtually none of them deserve to be. I mean, technically, no one deserves to be there because it's an unelected chamber. It's ridiculous. There should be no such thing as a life peerage. But it's especially galling when the people of Bristol Central went to Thabing and Debonair a few months ago. Get fucked. And Keir Starmer's gone.
Tiny Queen supremacy.
Well, indeed, yeah. Marxism, Denyerism forever. But
the immortal science.
Indeed. But Keir Starmer's just gone. No, you're wrong. She gets to be in Parliament forever now. Fuck you. Brilliant. Don't you love democracy? If they're not on TV every 5 minutes, they're now just making laws for you, even though you strictly said we don't want you to make laws for us.
Yay!
Brilliant. Love it.
Well, look, we've appointed a range of peerages. Some people think we shouldn't be appointing any at all because we are reforming the House of Lords. But
you said you were going to scrap the House of Lords. You said they shouldn't be appointing anybody.
Thing is, right, is that I could if they came back with a specific argument of, look, we have the ambition to abolish it, but we need to be able to pass it through the Lords by appointing people who agree that the Lords should go. And so what we're going to do is we're going to appoint people who in the interim before that happens have experience that's worth scrutinising legislation. But they can't say that, can they?
No.
They can't say that because they're not appointing people who are experts who would be good at scrutinising legislation. They're rewarding their fucking political friends
or indeed
who stepped down.
Yeah, or indeed appointing people who think the House of Lords needs to be scrapped. So they're not doing either of those things. Yeah.
No, it's ridiculous.
They're doing the very thing that they criticise the Tories are doing, which is like the, I think, 59th time they've done that so far in government.
Exactly. Or, indeed, what Thangham Debonair criticised the Tories for and then immediately said that Keir Starmer wouldn't do. And then it happened to her.
Yep.
But that is going to take time as well. And we've got the Hereditary Peers Bill going through Parliament at the moment, which will abolish hereditary peers altogether, something that's long overdue. And that big programme of reform of the House of Lords will continue.
Abolish.
But in the meantime,
Get rid.
we've got to try and get our business through both houses.
And the thing is, you don't even have to go to like a unicameral thing. You can have some elected upper chamber. Lots of other countries have it, and they're fine.
Yep.
Look, we've got the room for it.
It's like, literally, there are colonies that we set up, which we sent a bunch of criminals to, creating a better political system than the mother of all parliaments.
I wonder if there are any countries in question that you're bringing up there.
It's true. I mean, they literally have in Australia, of course, what I'm talking about here. They have a ranked choice electoral system for the House of Representatives, and in their Senate they have proportional representation. It works pretty well.
Yeah, And they've got a better cricket team.
And they have a better cricket team. Although, to be fair, they have a more cheating cricket team.
That is also true. But isn't cheating the whole point of having an empire?
Well, if you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Exactly, yeah. Like, do you really want it if you're not cheating?
Exactly. If you could like, and also seeing the ball swing a bit because Joe Rue has been frantically scrubbing it on his trousers for the last 3 days. That's interesting. What's even more interesting is seeing it hoop round corners because David Warner has scratched it with some sandpaper.
That is also true.
It's just like, do you want to see the 100 meters run in 10 minutes? In 10 seconds, sorry. Do you want to see the 100 meters run in 5 seconds and watch the runner burst into flames at the end, right?
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, bring back doping. It's got a bad rap.
Well, exactly. Look, they can't get rid of it at the Tour de France, so I reckon just let it be open season.
Like, yeah, you can't claim to want to demonstrate the pinnacle of human achievement if you're not willing to push it that extra bit further.
Exactly. We've got science. Use it.
Yeah.
Literally, why can't we run the 100 metres in 2 seconds? Fact. It can be done. Make Usain Bolt look like a slug. Let's fucking go.
Majority in the Commons, and we don't have a majority at all in the House of Lords. So every government that comes...
Really? You don't have a majority in the House of Lords? I wonder if that's because there's absolutely no element of democracy in the House of Lords. Something you as the government could and should do something about.
Minor VT says, or as they say in NASCAR, if you ain't cheating, you ain't winning. This is completely unrelated. It's related to NASCAR, but I saw the craziest move. I say craziest. It's crazy to do it in real life because everyone's done it in video games. Where I saw some guy, what's his name, was Ross Chastain, was in 10th place, and on the last corner was like, well, fuck, it's the last race of the season, I need to make it to the final cut. So just slammed his accelerator on and drove into the wall and allowed the wall to take his car around the side of the corner, like he did in fucking, like, on the PS2.
So he allowed the crumple zone and centrifugal force to get him there. Let's fucking go.
And he got from 10th up into 4th and qualified for the final cut. Honestly, the video was... I mean,
and he had roughly the same number of limbs as when he started. So
the car it wasn't too badly damaged. It was genuinely really, really funny to watch. I highly recommend going and watching it.
Amazing stuff.
To appoint new peers, and that's what we've done. And look, Sue Gray has got one of the things we've also changed is that now people have to put a citation in for why someone deserves to have a peerage. Sue Gray had a very, very long and esteemed career as a senior civil servant. She did a really... I worked very closely.
Okay, but why does that mean that she should write laws? What gives... there are already loads of ex-people like that in the House of Lords. Loads of them. In fact, most of them are some form of civil servant or another.
You want to talk about her employment gap, though?
No. That's a national secret.
Also, like, Toby Young's being appointed as well. Well, what the fuck has he done? I said on stream yesterday about the Toby Young appointment, but fuck it, just appoint Mr. Blobby at this point.
Didn't Toby Young defend pedophilia at one point?
No, I think you're thinking of somebody else.
Oh, okay.
I really don't think that's the case.
Okay. So hang on, I'll have to look into it. I'm sure I liked a tweet. 1 second.
With Sue for the year, but that she was chief of staff in opposition and into that transition into government, and she did an outstanding job in getting our government prepared to govern, and I think she deserves the peerage.
The reason I'm asking you this question, not to be smart aleck, but the point is, you made a great deal of play when you were in opposition about the previous government appointing people because they were part of the then Prime Minister's circle and so on and so forth. And I wonder whether there's any part of you that has any pause for thought that it might look to the untutored observer that you're doing exactly the same thing that you criticised others for.
Well, I'm not sure.
That was it. He was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. See, I knew there was some nonsense going on.
I mean, no, you have no proof of that. You have no proof there was actual nonsense going on. I've
Well,
tried to
with
make
Ghislaine
that incredibly
Maxwell,
clear.
well, with Ghislaine Maxwell there was, and
I mean, she was, but to say that Toby Young had any actual involvement in that would purely be speculation, and you have no proof. But, you know,
he's
it's
also an
dodgy.
anti-vaxxer. So,
That's also bad.
Yeah.
Also, his mates didn't come to his specially arranged stag do. It's very fun. He literally wrote he wrote an article about it called something like "Who Needs Friends."
Yeah.
Let me find it. Let me find what the name, because the article name has a very funny. Call yourself a friend. Only 4 out of 10 pals turn up for my stag do, not including the best friends who organised it.
He also has quite a thing for tits, apparently. So a series of tweets from Toby. Danny Boyle's wife has got huge knockers. #Oscars. In a hotel room with 5-month pregnant Padma, her boobs are massive. Be careful what you wish for. What happened to Winkleman's breasts? Put on some weight, girly. #comic relief.
Normal, very normal posting.
Helen Mirren is looking good. #grandmas I'd like to shag. He's going to be in the House of Lords.
Super normal,
Yeah,
incredibly
no,
normal.
yeah,
It was
lovely.
a normal politician for normal island.
Very normal. Too normal.
What criticisms particularly were put in there, but there were general
Boris
questions being
Johnson,
asked probably
the
by
two,
the media
the two
and
young peers
around
appointed,
others.
you were all over it.
Yeah. Well,
You
not
said
me
they weren't
personally,
worthy,
but
they weren't
look, I
worthy
think,
of it.
right. I don't know that I did.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Lucy. You are bad at this. You are really bad at this.
But look, I think the point being that what we've now brought in is a system where you do have to put a proper citation in about why someone deserves a peerage. And what tends to happen with House of Lords appointments is people sort of in the twilight of their career, if you like, or later in their career. Aisha is one of the exceptions. I know she's in the studio with you today. But people later on in their career bring all that expertise and that experience of whatever they've done in their past to being a scrutineer.
What about people at the end of their career, i.e. the end of their career in Parliament, because they got voted out, because they lost to Carla Denyer?
Yeah, losers. Embarrassing
indeed.
failures.
Exactly. The Secretary of State for sore losers, although to be fair, he's now not in the Lords, but he has got a special position at Labour Together.
Yeah, exactly. In many respects, he's got a bigger job as the chief turd polisher.
Quite so.
In the House of Lords, and as I say, Sue Gray has got an immense CV that I don't think many people could argue with. But on your wider point, you're absolutely right. We need to reform the House of Lords because this is not the kind of a system that people think works all that well.
Okay, Lucy Powell, I'm so sorry to have to stop. Because you are out of time and we've got to move on. But thank you very much for your time this morning.
I understand.
A Merry
Have a good
Christmas for you,
Trevor.
to you.
And you.
Waste of time.
Okay, let's see what our panel made of all that. We're joined
Absolute
all morning
waste
by
of
the
fucking
former
time.
Labour
I wonder
advisor
what.
and
Hang a
broadcaster
minute.
Aisha
I
Hasselbeck.
wonder what. See, this is what our panel thought of this absolute pile of pablum. Like, wonder what they're going to squeeze out of this damp rag of an interview.
Yeah. I don't know, but good luck with it, I guess.
Former Conservative advisor Joe Tanner and the ICE chief political commentator Kitty Donaldson. Aisha, it's not a great Christmas message for Labour, is it, at the moment?
My favourite part of this, just to give you, especially some Americans, some context for this, how bad at Christmas this is for Keir Starmer. That whilst it didn't get to number 1 at Christmas, there is a song which I think, did it get to number 2 or number 3? Which is
I think it's number 2.
Was it number 2? Yeah. Which is by a band. It's a charity single by a band called Sir Keir Starmer and the Granny Harmers.
Honestly, I'm just like, you can tell, like, because this is clearly done by rightoids, right?
Yeah.
Because you can tell just like how like level 0 their humor is on this. You know, like Keir Starmer and the Granny Harmers. Like, you couldn't even like condense your pun into just the name.
Yeah.
Leftists, we were over that immediately. We coined Kid Starver, Queer Harmer, war crimer.
War crimer was
Exactly.
good.
We managed to get the puns out there straight out of the blocks, and condensed it specifically to his name. Right? You've had to have a whole ass thing where the granny harmer, like that's not. I mean, harmer is such a word that no one actually uses. I mean, come on, I'm all for taking the piss out of Sir Kid Starver, right? All for it. I'm all for it, right?
Yes.
But at the very least, make your satire funny.
Yeah, it's not funny, but it is telling, and that's why I raise it.
It's true. It's
Well,
literally
it is
true.
literally
He is a
true.
granny harmer.
Yeah.
Although clearly,
It's not. Let's just say it's not a great PR moment when that's number 2 in the charts. You know, it's not what Alistair Campbell would have wanted.
No, indeed. I mean, it's the same of just how when Or to be fair, honestly, I guess I can't really complain because the cunts managed to get pretty high up on the charts with the incredibly satirically titled Boris Johnson is a fucking cunt.
Which again, he is.
He is. It's true. He is. But I mean, if we're gonna be using names to describe Keir Starmer, we want to call him Kid Starver, and there's Rachel Fries.
That is also true.
Those are the names that we're going with. The problem is they can't use Sir Kid Starver because these people all agree with starving children. They all love the 2-child benefit cap.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's fair to say that governing is definitely more difficult than being in opposition against a wildly unpopular government that's been in for 14 years. So, look, I don't think anybody would argue that night is day. It is a difficult first Christmas for this.
Well, Sir Kid Starver literally did in front of the liaison committee. When asked, he said that he wouldn't do anything differently.
A real Kamala Harris moment.
So, like, either he's lying, which he is, or he thinks everything's going just swimmingly.
But I think.
Sorry, Callas in chat asks. There's nothing the public can do about this and the water companies? I feel like our democracy is a failure. It's collective action. Remember when people refused to pay their energy bills during the energy crisis and the government was forced to act?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm saying that that's a thing that has worked previously.
Yeah, and let's keep Luigi posting to a minimum, shall we, for legal reasons?
Yeah, I mean, and also for moral reasons. I'm gonna be very clear, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, in that there is no moral justification for murdering anybody. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Please
keep any such statements, any such sentiments out of my good Christian chat.
Exactly. This is a family show, damn it.
Absolutely.
Really interesting is that a number of things can be true at the same time. This government is new. It has had some difficulties. It is also true, and I know everybody kind of groans about this, but they did inherit a difficult set of circumstances. You look at what's happening with the prison system. Okay,
we clearly haven't reached the stage where they're going to stop using that excuse, but at some point they do have to. At some point they're going to have to be like, you can't. The year's going to be 2090, and they're still going, well, $22 billion pound black hole, you know?
I mean, you say that in jest, but Greg Hans was doing the Liam Byrne note meme for 14 years.
That is true. They did keep that going quite a long time.
So people who don't know, right, there was the note that said there's no money left, which is a joke left in the Treasury office by Liam Byrne in 2010. David Cameron paraded the note around as justification for Labour's reckless spending. Greg Hans, previously chairman of the Conservative Party, kept that note in his fucking wallet perpetually to try and to be able to wave it in people's faces in political debates.
Yeah. Amazing stuff.
You look at, things that were blatantly uncosted, like the cost of immigration and asylum. We know there were massive problems with the public realm. That is why the Conservatives lost so badly. But I think what's really interesting, just having this 6-month milestone, is that the next 6 months will slip by quickly. The next 6 months will slip by quickly. And I think the one thing that this new government is going to have to think about absolutely relentlessly as they move into 2025 is getting on and delivering. And I think for the interesting sort of wider political landscape is it's not the Conservative Party that Labour strategists are worried about. It is the rise of reform.
I want to come back to that, and I want to talk about...
Which is why they're adopting their fiscal policies.
Woo! It's fucking ridiculous, isn't it?
Amazing stuff.
if you like, what you might call the unforced.
Honestly, the problem with the rise of Farage is that Farage is so right wing, he might even be as right wing as the Labour Party, and that's not good. We don't need that.
Errors, but let's start with the economic situation. How long do you think, Joe, the argument's going to hold? And Lucy Powell made a fair stab at it, saying that the oil tanker's got to be turned around and all of that. How long is that going to be credible?
I think it's already waning a bit. I mean, we're all willing for this oil tanker to turn around. We all need it to turn around. Whatever your politics, you do need the oil tanker to be in the right direction and, turned around fully and in the right direction. The problem is,
I thought we were trying to stop boats.
Is almost a sort of, as it's moving, we're seeing it taking other vessels and goodness knows what else with it, because it doesn't feel that the movements that are being made to so-called progress are being well received.
Can we end the boat analogy, please?
Yeah, the naval analogy needs to just sort of stop at this point. The maritime comparison is silly.
The minute Aisha said the word milestone, I was like, oh goodness, here we go. There's another one of those lines. But it is a challenge. Like, how do you show progress when there doesn't really seem to be any progress? All these small things that they're doing do seem to be having a negative effect, and that is a really big problem for the sort of storytelling of the government, because you need to give confidence not only to the public, but you need to give confidence to business, because business ultimately are going to drive this much needed growth that we all need to see. And if
Job creators!
Yeah, exactly. The job creators of the one acceptable opinion in British politics, which is business is good and you should feel good for liking it.
Yeah.
That's the singular acceptable opinion, because it can't be the growth. It's not that the growth could be driven by, I don't know, workers creating commodities, doing actual work, right? No. It's the mythical big brain of the big rich men.
Exactly. Yeah. The one opinion is that you notice that it's like, oh, you need to deliver for people, but you need to deliver for businesses. Businesses are really awesome, and businesses are good and awesome.
You deliver for people, but the people who deliver for the people are the businesses, which you should be.
So basically, the one opinion is you should govern on behalf of business and nothing else.
And then the wealth will just trickle down.
It will. It will definitely trickle down. Honest, any decade now.
Yeah.
That is the rocket boost that the tanker needs to get in the right direction. Well, goodness knows we need the country to be talked up.
The rocket boost at the tanker. What fucking mode of transport are you describing? You think ships have rocket boosters? What?
It reminds me of the Tommy Tallarico pitch for the Intellivision Amico for the fucking the H Bomber Guy video, where he says the rocket ship has been built. We're on the launch pad. We shoot a bit of rocket fuel to allow it to take off.
Yeah, it is.
That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
Talk down, and the more and more we hear about how awful what's been inherited is, it just puts everybody off. And I think businesses out there that should be making big investment decisions are going to be wondering whether to bother.
I can feel the oil tanker's going to be sailing with us through the morning. Kitty, the signals seem to be pointing in the wrong direction.
Would you like
but
me
some people
to
think
be the
that,
kitty?
of course, there's strategy here.
No, because you eat rice for breakfast.
The bad news out of the way early, and then the sunlit up. Everything after that looks like sunlit uplands.
I guess so, but I think the sunlit uplands are 3 or 4 years away at the very least, aren't they? Because even if you look at the Office for Budget Responsibility figures in the budget, it shows that growth isn't going to come for a couple of years, or 3 or 4 years, and even then it's going to be quite anemic. And I think all the kind of the big stuff they're doing, like liberalising planning law, so that you get the house building boom going on, that's great, and clearly the country needs it, but it's not going to. No one's going to sort of see a house for a few years. So you're right that they're sort of front-loading the pain, and that's quite bad for morale, both in the Labour Party and the country. And so you've got businesses saying the national insurance contributions in the budget, putting that up. But that's, we're laying off staff and we're not going to hire next year. And I think actually when we look at this back at this year, there are kind of I would point at 2 big things. One is political, one is economic, and the economic one is putting up the national insurance contributions, and that's going to have a filter-on effect next year in terms of business confidence. And the political decision, I think, that most affected the Labour Party was the first one that Rachel Reeves took, which was to get rid of universal winter fuel
allowance.
Which has just allowed a kind of narrative to develop that they're sort of that the political decisions that Labour's making aren't necessarily the right ones. Everything's a decision.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're just doing austerity. They promised not to do austerity. They promised change, and what they delivered is not any of that.
Yeah. The thing is, right, is that maybe you could make an argument for the centrist case that there are some things that the government is spending money on they didn't need to spend money on, right? I can understand how people might theoretically make that case. I'm going to put my political analyst hat on rather than my leftist hat on for a second. You could make that case for some things. I don't suppose if you had the threshold higher on the means test, people might not care as much. For example, the pension credit limit is very, very low, right? And that's pissed people off politically. But it's just knowing that all you've done is massively screw something up for a very specific subsect of high voter engagement group of people just before fucking recess. It's all that everybody talked about. And even when your own impact assessment showed that 100,000 extra pensioners were pushed into fuel poverty by this choice is the height of political stupidity.
True. Rightides love a ship analogy.
And yes, the implosion of the Conservatives and the SNP has put wind in Labour's sails. But the only reason we've got sails on the ship and the ship is ship-shape is because Keir Starmer took the vessel from the shipwreck in 2019, rebuilt it, and made it ship-shape and seaworthy again. And yet,
Ship shape and the ship shape and the shippy ship shape.
I think he's a fucking shiphead.
Hey. Anyway, it turns out that Thangam Debonair wasn't ship shape and Bristol fashion. Because they literally voted her out. So, you know. Anyway.
Decision, giving extra money to the train drivers, is not a decision that many people welcome.
Well, actually, you can see.
Well, not many people in Westminster, sure. Yeah.
The degree to which they've fallen into a hole here. This is the way that they're...
Oh, the red line not go up. Oh. Oh.
All red line go
lead
down equals
has
world not
fallen
badder.
from 19% to 0.5% over the year, which is pretty dramatic. And I think we've got another graph here that will tell you where we are at the end of the year. We'll come to that in a moment. But Aisha, some of this is not just the economy. Some of it is unforced errors, I think, to some extent. And I was sort of asking Lucy Powell about...
Talking about unforced errors, you're still waiting for that poll, mate. What are you talking about? Where's your graph?
The Sue Gregg thing. Now, this is not a question about the individual, but the story that will now be told is this is somebody that the number 10 found unsatisfactory, had to move out of government, yet she's being rewarded with a seat in the House of Lords.
Whoa. Let's be real, right?
Adding...
So to try and say that her removal as chief of staff was due to her being unsuitable or unfit for the role, that's bollocks, by the way. That is bollocks. You know, I'm not here to venerate Sue Gray or anything, but she was fine as chief of staff. The reason why she was removed as chief of staff, the specific reason why, as far as I'm concerned, given the leaks that we know, is that she, as chief of staff, was telling the members of the Politburo to stop leaking to the press. Stop it. Stop leaking to the press. All it's doing is tanking the party. And because Morgan McSweeney and Pat McFadden have essentially built their political position off of leaking to the press, as we know from the Anushka Asthana revelations, right? They wanted her gone, and now she's been replaced by like Morgan McSweeney, I believe. So the reason why that she was gotten rid of is because she was actually trying to stop the Labour Party acting like fucking rats in a sack. She was removed because she said, maybe don't do the thing that's politically damaging because you want to have huggy-kissy relationships with members of the fucking lobby. Yeah. And that was enough to get rid of her.
Yep.
Into a narrative that's unhelpful to the government.
Well, there is a consistent and very serious problem in this country and many other countries about a sort of terminal lack of trust in politics.
Yes. because of people like you. People exactly like you. Westminster bubble ghoul monsters.
And again, it would be so easy to pull the thread on this, to be able to tease out why we're in this position. And it's just to, examine the fact that Keir Starmer just keeps fucking lying.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an honesty problem. He hasn't been engaging in political chicanery or, being deceptive, as people call it, fucking sparkling deception, right? He's just a fucking liar.
He's a
He
liar.
keeps lying over and over and over again. He constantly lies about everything, from big things to small things, from promises to policies to things that fucking relationships of his family members, what they did at the Second World War or some shit, right? He just
The
lies
Falklands,
over and over, and over
please.
again.
The Falkland War.
Was the Falklands? Either way,
He claimed
right?
his uncle had sunk on a ship that he was never on or something. Yeah, mad.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's really simple. People have lost trust in politics because politicians are untrustworthy, and the most untrusty one of them all is Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
Because he's a proven.
I didn't think we could get worse than the crop of Tory prime ministers, but he really has managed it somehow.
In terms of honesty, but absolutely, he seems to be the most dishonest. But again, he is a proven morally corrupt serial liar, despite what James O'Brien said earlier.
Literally. And of course, it goes beyond just lying. It's the fact that they don't govern on behalf of the people of the country. It's pretty obvious it's just business and that's it. Business, lobby, technocracy. That's all they're governing on behalf of. And people aren't massively in favour of that, actually.
Nope.
And I accept the fact, and I'm not here to argue night as day, it has been difficult for the government. But
the night is day. So that's clearly a fucking Politburo thing. Because I've heard, I mean, literally Powell used it earlier, she's using it now. I've heard a couple of other mothers saying this. Well, no one's going to argue night is day.
It's especially galling coming from somebody who's supposed to be like a not a neutral, but at least an objective panelist, to just be borrowing the phraseology used by frontbenchers.
Yep. Well, she literally got a fucking shout out from the frontbencher in the interview.
Yeah, yeah, she did.
Fucking hell.
The big club chat, you ain't in
don't
it.
see
Yeah, exactly.
a counterfactual world in which, I mean, I think the winter fuel was a very difficult decision, and Labour MPs and Labour peers will,
She's even calling it a
say
difficult
that
decision.
privately.
Go on. Say they were fucking fixing the foundations. Let's go. Come on.
And it is easy to sit here as a commentator and be the armchair general about what could have been done differently. But I go back to the point, we did, and this government inherited a very difficult
Jesus
circumstances.
Christ.
Now, when you come to doing a budget, there are going to be decisions that there's always going to be groups that are angry with your decisions. If it hadn't been the winter fuel allowance, and I think that
Okay, but why is it always the poorest? Always.
Difficult decision, it would have been something else. If it wasn't national insurance, it would have been something else. So I think the reality is...
Yes, but something else might have been better.
Yeah.
It might have been
Easy.
politically
There's
more
no
efficacious to
easy-
do, a wealth tax, capital gains in line with income tax,
Yeah.
reversing the cut in employee national insurance. I don't think they should have done that, but they could have.
Yep.
Right? Economy was
Fringe,
functioning
fringe.
fine before the Tories cut it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
New government coming in. And just, I say this, look, I accept the kind of eyes rolling a bit when, you hear Labour ministers just going on and on about the Tories. But I would just urge one thing. Let's not all have collective amnesia about where we were in the run-up to this general election, where we would come on programmes like yours, people would come on my radio show as well, and absolutely rant about the parlous state of this country, from not being able to get a police officer around your house if you were burgled, to not being able to see a GP. Now, those things...
Which you still can't do. Like, you haven't improved that.
No, true.
don't just disappear because you've got a new change of government. So, again, I'm not saying everything has been perfect, but you cannot just wave a magic wand and everything's going to be
Do you
fixed.
think part of the problem...
No, but you could try it and do something to fix some of the things, and you haven't.
You've been an advisor, I've been an advisor. You must feel a little...
Yeah, you are both technocratic parasites. Yes, you're
Yeah,
both
exactly.
worthless human beings. Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. We've both been advisors. Then what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Pretending to be fucking objective political analysts and not people who've just come straight out of the inner ring. The poachers turned gamekeeper.
Yep.
Little bit that it's part of the expectation
Or
management.
gamekeepers turned
you know,
poachers.
saying
even.
we're going to achieve change. It was a big promise, and that's one of the problems in elections, right? It's much easier to your point earlier, it's much easier to have a big narrative that everyone can get on board with, but then actually taking people through that journey, and even your own side. I mean, you know, you're sitting as a Labour peer. That's a challenge, isn't it? That you've then got to sort of almost nod these things through, even though you recognise they're painful. Like, that is even keeping your own side together.
No, you don't have to. Especially when, like, the grand narrative they were telling before the election wasn't this. So you could do the morally right thing and the democratically legitimate thing of saying, no, this wasn't in the manifesto, I'm not voting this through.
Yeah, very much so. Exactly. You know.
But no.
The Parliament Act exists for a reason.
There's one allowed opinion, and that is fuck poor people.
True.
As part of the problem, let alone the public.
That's absolutely true, and we've both been advisors, so we know what that's like. I mean, my advice to this government going forward is things are really, really difficult. However, I think more has to be done in terms of taking people with you, including your own side, but more importantly, the public, and explaining something, because everything is not the point that Kitty made about, you know, some things are difficult decisions now, but there are some things which business are keen for. Like, if the planning reforms happen and there is big investment in infrastructure, that will be a very good thing for this country.
Kitty,
but you have to explain this stuff.
So they are doing a good job. They just need to explain it better. Because the people are stupid and can't see how great the Keir Starmer fucking legacy is already. It's
silly proles. Don't you know that you're lucky to have us?
Exactly.
Really great propaganda there, isn't it?
Yeah, what we need to do is explain that the Earth has existed for billions of years, humans have been on it for 200,000 years, and yet you are so lucky that you exist at the same time as the great and glorious leader, Sir Keir of Starmer. Yeah? Fuck off.
Why do you think that it's so difficult for Labour, which, you know, let's not forget, 411 seats, huge majority, to break out of this narrative? I'm wondering if part of it is the feeling that we had one Labour Party before the election, and after the election, something else. We're hearing something very different. It's not. Trevor.
Reasonable to say that the Labour Party sounded different pre-election than its acting post-election. That's true. Why at any point did you not bother to scrutinise the fact that there was two different Keir Starmers, one before the leadership election and one after the leadership election?
Because those people, the people he was lying to then, it was good to lie to because they're evil, leftoid communoids. You're supposed to lie to those people, but now he's been lying to middle-class nice people, so...
Yep.
Crazy.
To the left. Yours is not one of them. Why are they so difficult? Why is it proving so difficult for them to break out of this doom loop, if I can use that expression?
Because they keep lying and not serving the interests of the people, and the people don't like that. That is the answer. I don't know what this fucking dickhead's going to say, but I've just given you the correct answer.
Well, first of all, I'd say our paper is neutral. We've never backed a political party.
That doesn't mean you're neutral. It just means you're spineless.
I mean, she can say that the I paper never backs a she can say that the I paper never backs a specific political party, but her previous paper's chief political commentator was Paul Waugh, who is now a Labour Party MP in Rochdale.
So he's right wing as fuck then. Cool.
Oh, you know, he's a Labour co-op MP. He's a Labour, so pointless, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. To be fair.
I have a kind of wider theory of all this, and I think politics has sped up over the last few years. I think the Tories are partly to blame for that, getting through so many leaders in so few years, and people's expectations are higher than they've ever been. And I absolutely have
What?
sympathy with what Aisha was.
What the fuck? What world are you in? People's expectations are higher than they've ever been. Is literally the exact opposite.
Yeah, their expectations are, please don't starve kids and freeze pensioners. And Keir Starmer was just like, sorry guys, sorry about that.
This is these fucking wankers ensconced in their little Westminster bubble. People's expectations are higher than they've ever been. You're a fucking lunatic. You could not be more wrong. And I'm being told that this person is a fucking expert that I need to listen to rather than a worthless sack of shit.
The chief political commentator at the iPaper, guys.
True. Hey, hello there, James from the internet and James from the internet Raiderinos. Hello there, everyone. Hit the follow button. I'm not asking you nicely anymore. I'm just fucking telling you. Hit the fucking follow button. Otherwise, I will bring hellfire down upon you and future generations.
Absolutely. Do it.
I'm joined by No Justice MTG, who is better at this than me.
And I would like to prove how better I am by asking you very politely. It would be very appreciated if you head over to twitch.tv/NoJusticeMTG and not drop to follow. No pressure.
Yeah, it's there. Someone put the link in chat, please, and do that. Everyone go and follow James from the internet, and thank you, James from the internet, for resubscribing. 43 months. Look, James, you're obviously a degenerate piece of filth because you're a Twitch streamer. The fact that you've been subscribed to me for 43 months means you are just irrecoverably evil.
Exactly. What the fuck? Yeah. What the fuck are you doing?
You're broken.
What's happening? What's happening to your life?
Your head is broken. Sort yourself the fuck out, mate. Jesus Christ. Anyway, we're watching other actually brain broken people talking shit about things they don't understand.
True.
Yay.
Kevin Logan, it's true. Kevin Logan may be a lukewarm political commentator, but at the very least, he's better than literally everybody in the mainstream media in this country.
Stop it.
Lukewarm? How dare you? Who said that? Who said that? Tell me their name. I need a name right now.
It was. I'm gonna say it was.
Anyway, I'm issuing a fatwa against you, whoever the fuck you are.
Fatwa against you. Peter Bone. There you go.
Was it Mr. Peter Bone?
It was Mr. Peter Bone.
Oh, outrageous.
Outrageous. Oh, no, in all seriousness, right? The fact that we, again, neither of us are professional political analysts, right? You have a history degree, right?
I do indeed, yes.
I studied astrophysics, so neither of us are
Oh,
qualified.
you are such a fucking nerd. Jesus Christ.
I'm absolutely a nerd. Neither of us are qualified to talk about politics.
Not
All
really,
we have is we've paid attention, we've done research in the background, and we live normal lives in the normal country, having to deal with normal things in the normal way, right? And we are, both of us together, infinitely more qualified to talk about politics, infinitely better at commenting on politics than the absolute kind of cavalcade of clowns that you see on your screen right now.
Yeah. Okay. Telio in chat. I've literally already told you to hit the fucking follow button, and you haven't. Do I need to issue a fatwa against you too? I mean, I will fucking go full Ayatollah on you. Don't fucking tempt me. Thank you to Rohak for following. Thank you to people who followed. Thank you to Mr. Peter Wood. Mr. Peter Wood. For bits. Thank you, Baron von Cockslap, for bits. We are on a hype train. If we get to the next level of the hype train, what fascist shall I finger? As a Christmas gift to you, this is your Christmas present, No Justice, you can choose the dead fascist whose corpse I will interfere with digitally.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I think for some reason, they're not specifically a fascist, but for some reason I'm going to go with Comrade Dutch of the Communist Party of Kampuchea. I think you should finger him. Okay,
I'll finger him. I don't know where he's buried. I'll have to look that up, but I'll find him.
Somewhere in Cambodia, I don't know.
And I will finger him. Sorry, Rohak. I said that you hit the follow button. You subscribed. My bad.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
For some reason, that the name Comrade Dutch came to mind because I was looking up the atrocities that occurred at the was it T21 prison during the Cambodian genocide?
Not a clue, but there we go.
First thing, it was just the big prison by the killing fields, basically.
No, fair enough. Well, I mean, I used it on no on what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Anyway, unintentionally or whatever. A very almost Chinaman-esque phrase the other day when describing this. I said the phrase Indochina, which is a phrase that people haven't used since the 60s, I think, probably.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Indochina. But you're a big Indochina fan, is what I was going to say.
So, Indochina is it's the only something that you'd say colonially.
Basically, yeah. When I think of French Indochina, yeah.
Exactly. It's just
that
region of different cultures and people that sort of related but not related that have been developing over millennia. No, we can just lump that all together.
Yeah, they're all the same people. It's fine.
They're
yeah.
basically the same.
Because I remember reading there's a fantastic book called Vichy in the Tropics, which is about how when the Nazis take over France, they take over all of their colonies, right? And so they sent out people to track down Jewish people in the French colonies of Indochina, and there were like 12 Jewish people in the entirety of that region of like 100 million people, and they had to try and track down these 12 Jewish people. They didn't find any of them because it's 12 fucking people. But
people in a haystack, innit?
Yeah. So yeah, but a fascinating thing. But yeah, they were still called French Indochina. So,
yeah. So despite my jesting about Kevin's lukewarm streaming, which is obviously not true, very learned man Kevin Logan is, and that's why you should drop the follow.
Oh, was it you who said lukewarm?
No, I was repeating the comment of somebody in chat.
Give me a fucking name now. No, who is
Mr.
this?
Peter Bone. Mr. Peter Bone was in my chat.
Do you mean Mr. Peter Wood?
No, I mean Mr. Peter Bone. I mean the actual former MP, Mr. Peter Bone, was in my Twitch chat.
Amazing. I didn't even know he was on Twitch.
No, I was surprised as well.
Although he is a sex pest, so that makes sense. So, thank you to Skoiatalo56. Thank you for Bitty Bits. Thank you to Lord Fruitus for gifting a sub. We're on the next level, so I've got to go and finger Comrade Dutch.
Do it.
I will finger him to well, not to within an inch of his life because he's already dead.
Hey.
But, to within an inch of his extra death? No, that don't make
Crab
sense.
dancers in chat.
Exactly. He also donated 200 bits to you, Kev. Who did? Oh, Mr. Peter Wood. No, but apparently it's not Mr. Peter Wood, it's Mr. Peter Bone.
No, Mr. Peter Bone, the Tory MP, Mr. Peter Bone, right?
Yeah. Who, let's remember, trapped a young man in a hotel in Madrid and masturbated furiously while screaming abuse at him through the door.
Is that a genuine story?
That actually happened, yeah. So
I thought he just waved his cock around at somebody.
No. He basically did several crimes. They were on like a fact-finding mission thing. In they send them on these missions, and it's usually to like Israel or somewhere. But on this occasion, they were in Madrid, a group of MPs. Anyway, and they're in the hotel, and it was one of his staff who was a young gay man, and clearly Mr. Peter Bone is a bit gay himself, even though he doesn't necessarily, I don't think he's out, is he? I don't know. Anyway, but clearly he's gay as fuck, and trapped the young man in the hotel toilet. So technically, false imprisonment, first and foremost, and then was apparently furiously masturbating outside while screaming sexual insults through the door.
Textbook British MP behaviour. Very normal.
So it would make sense that he's a Twitch streamer, if that's indeed what he is. Or a Twitch, or even just in the Twitch comments. Yeah, I'm saying it.
He's just a Twitch enjoyer.
Yeah, if you've got a Twitch account, you are a fucking sex pest. Okay, you are a monster. You are evil.
Exactly. All 127 of you.
Exactly. Is that lukewarm enough for you?
Yeah, Peter.
I'm not even offended. I'm not even offended at all. Don't put in the newspaper that I was offended.
Saying I think that the inheritance was absolutely appalling that Labour have inherited from the Tories.
She sounds like she's fucking dying. She sounds like she just needs to be in bed.
I mean, if I was having to be across the table from Trevor Phillips, I'd feel similarly.
True.
I think part of that is kind of sort of calcified cynicism that everyone's kind of like, nothing's going to change. It's all going to be awful forever.
Hang on, time the fuck out! I literally just attacked you for saying that the expectations have never been so high. because that's not true. And now you're explaining why you were wrong the previous sentence.
See what I mean? See what I mean? Just
You're,
us two.
you're refuting yourself.
As I said, us two, just regular people chatting shit about politics. We know far more than these paid professionals who are so stupid and so poorly adjusted. They disprove themselves in consecutive sentences.
Yeah, ridiculous.
We've got this shiny new Labour Party, new government, and why haven't they fixed it like now? You know, and obviously they can't. You know, this oil tanker takes a while to turn around. And that's why people are looking to smaller parties like Reform, because they offer these sort of quick.
Are there any other parties that might be named? Maybe that you could probably mention.
No one else. No at all. No. Say one. Yeah.
Okay.
Fixes and which is appealing when you want to get your hip replaced or.
We're going to come back to opposition. In fact, we're going to talk about. Remember, there is an official opposition. We're going to talk about that about them before we get to reform. It is 9 o'clock.
Who's the opposition? Who are they? What? I've never heard of. Who are they? Let me have a look. The Conservatives. Never heard of them.
Exactly.
Kamai Bad Enoch. That's not a real name. No. This is nonsense. No. Sorry, Google, you've gone mad.
O'clock. You're watching Sunday Morning with Trevor Phillips. In the
Although
last
it's
hour,
funny,
the leader
it's
of
funny.
the House of Commons.
It's funny to see them essentially acknowledge that the real opposition is Nigel Farage.
Yeah,
It's
because
quite
that's
funny.
just true. Yeah, you bypass the Tories now. When you think of who are the Labour Party defending against in the next election, it's not the Tories. Nope.
Absolutely right. It's Reform UK.
Indeed. Thank you everyone for the hype train. I've got to go and travel to Indochina. That one unitary culture of Indochina. And track down the body of a person who may not even have a marked grave. Brilliant.
Has told this programme that there are no immediate plans to change the law on political donations, given that Elon Musk may potentially give a large amount of money to Reform UK. Lucy Powell said she understands the anger of Waspi women, given the government will not provide compensation. Well, there's a lot to come this morning. Any second now, we're going to be joined by the Shadow Housing and Local Government Secretary.
Did you know his middle name, Conrad Dutch? I was just trying to find out where he's buried. His middle name was Keck.
It is indeed Keck, yeah.
Kang Kek Lu. I didn't know that. He died in Phnom Penh. Does it say where he's buried? Convictions for crimes against humanity. The date he was apprehended, 1999. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, and he died in 2020. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. He was the last one of the Central Committee for the CPK to die, I think.
Oh, wow. There you go. Kev, how long did
And he committed the most unspeakable crimes in their time during those 4 years.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, no, not fair enough that he did that. Fair enough point. Kev, how long do you think Kemi will survive? Honestly, the real thing is who goes first, Kemi or Keir?
What I think might happen really with the Conservatives, I think what's going to be a problem for them is that Kemi isn't good enough. She's not politically savvy enough. She's also a bit weird. She's not politically engaged with the public. She's totally out of touch. But because she's just going to get outshone by the Starmer versus Farage kind of fight, there's not going to be any kind of impetus to replace her. And all that will do is leave her in place till the next election, which will make them do worse than they would if they replaced her. So because she is so rubbish, so kind of ineffectual in comparison to Reform UK and Farage as the true opposition, it will damage the Conservative Party's reading of the situation and think everything's fine when it's not. Which is also even funnier.
I think you're forgetting how much of a bunch of fucking evil snakes they all are. Like the Tory party, they've lost their winning ways, but they've not lost the backstabbing, like Brutus on steroids, right? Just fucking knifing every cunt in every direction, because they're all self-serving, self-aggrandising pricks. James Cleverly, you think he's going to sit there on the back benches for 5 years? No, he wants that leadership. He thinks he should be Prime Minister. They're all going to be stabbing her left, right, and centre. And when the polls, as they're going to continue to, don't get any better for them, they'll get rid of her. I'd be very surprised if she sees the next election. Very surprised. Also, Telio, this is the second time I'm fucking telling you now, mate. You will not be told a third time. You won't hear it coming, but it will arrive for you. Hit the follow button.
Do it now.
In the words of the IRA, you've been told once, we don't tell twice. Oh, that's some cold shit.
True, exactly. You got 2 kneecaps for a reason.
Exactly.
I can see him on my right here. Plus, as the economy's gears continue to grind, what will it mean for inflation, interest rates, and growth in 2025? We'll talk to the former Deputy Governor of the Bank of England, Sir Charlie Bean. And with Lord Mandelson getting his passport ready for a stint as ambassador to the United States, we'll talk to a former holder of that very job, Lord Kim Darroch. Well, it's been quite a year for the Conservatives, from government to opposition, via a devastating election defeat that meant 175...
Oh, Telio, just do it just so I can say, you're my bitch. I just want to do that bit. You can unfollow afterwards if you want, I don't give a fuck.
Tories lost their seats. Well, they've gained a new leader in Kemi Badenoch, but there's little sign she's making a difference, with the polls showing that it's Reform UK that's growing in popularity. The Shadow Housing Secretary, Kevin Hollingray, is with me. Good morning.
Good morning, Trevor.
Everyone thinks that the Starmer administration's had a pretty rough start. We've just been belabouring them. But your poll ratings have barely budged. Why aren't the Tories benefiting?
Well, we are. I mean, if you look at the real elections
Not
that
really.
count, look at the elections that count.
You're no more popular than you were before.
Well, why are people voting for us in local elections, in by-elections, in councils then?
Oh, they're also voting for Reform. Reform won,
sorry,
I think, 2 this
sorry,
week.
Kev. Thank you, Monkey Sweet, with 100 bits. Eric Pickles for PM. He never struggles to achieve growth. Very true.
Ew.
Okay, so since the election, Labour have lost 27, we've gained 24, Reform have gained 7. So very good results in Fylde, in Dudley, in Essex, in Stock in Essex. So we show on the ground when our activists get out there and take the case to the public, as we need them to do, both...
Who the fuck is a Tory activist anymore? Like, it's bad enough being a Tory voter because you kind of don't like Labour or whatever, but, like, who the fuck is actively giving up their weekends to go and deliver leaflets for these wankers?
The founder of Conservative Hope has switched allegiance to Reform UK. It's cooked. It's cooked. It's over. It's Jova.
It really is. Like, if you're still working for the Tory party, what the fuck is wrong with you? Again, you are broken. I joke about James from the internet and all Twitchers, but, like, literally, you're fucked.
Yep. New and old activists, and that's the key to this. When we get out there with our message about that, if you vote anything other than Conservative, you'll end up with Labour. That's what you got at the election, and that's what you get in 2029 unless you vote Conservative. And if you want to get rid of the Labour government...
Oh, you're a
Labour
enabler?
You need to vote Conservative.
Literally out there calling people Labour enablers.
So it's literally just the uni party's approach is don't vote for those ones because you'll get the bad blue team or the bad red team, even though you're literally on the same fucking team.
Yeah, there was a really funny debate on GB News. It was Michael Walker and Richard Tice against Jacob Rees-Mogg, because obviously both Tice and Walker support proportional representation, and Jacob Rees-Mogg was literally spending the entire time calling them Labour enablers. I was like, well, Tory enablers. No, it's just your system sucks. Nobody is no one's owed anybody's vote. Like the absolute dirt worst thing about the Conservative Party, the worst thing about them is their fucking entitlement. Yeah. Their entitlement to be the natural party of government. Their entitlement that just because they're part of a political dynasty, a political history that's been 200 years long, that should be ever present. And no, I'm sorry, you fucked over your own voters, you fucked over the country, and you should go away forever.
Yep, 100%.
And help us get across the line.
Oh, so it's all going very well then?
Well, those results are good, don't you think? I mean, of course there's work to do. Of course, and it'll take time for Kemi, for people to understand what Kemi's all about. And I worked for 18 months.
It's mainly attacking Doctor Who. It's mainly going after Doctor Who because he doesn't want to kill all trans people or something. Like, that's it. That's her entire bit. Oh yeah, and sticking up for the rich. Because the Tories have learned literally nothing.
In the Department of Business and Trade as her minister, and I was nothing but impressed about the person she is. She's bold, she's optimistic, she's strong, she says what she thinks, which in politics I think is quite a rare commodity.
So, to be fair, she has taken a very strong stance on sandwiches. A very bold, controversial take on the sandwich.
That's true. But they're for wimps. That's her position.
Yeah, oh, what's that? You eat a sandwich? What are you, a guy?
Badly. So I think over time people will grow to really respect her, and I think come 2029 we'll be in a much better place in terms of convincing people to vote Conservative.
Okay, well that's the ad for Kemi, but let's test that a bit. Do we really understand what she's about? Two weeks ago, there were hundreds of farmers in their tractors on Whitehall protesting about inheritance tax.
So that when it's rich farmers doing it, it's protesting. When it's leftoids doing it, it's committing a public nuisance, and they need to be stopped. Literally to the point where a 78-year-old or 76-year-old has been sent back to prison because her legs are too skinny for them to fit an electronic tag on. So she's being sent back to prison.
Yes, exactly. It's just with justice. You sound surprised. You sound as though this isn't the way the justice system should work.
Because they're releasing rapists early because there aren't enough spaces in prison, so that they can fill up those places with 76-year-old protesters. Don't you love justice?
Two-tier kid.
To ask the Prime Minister about inheritance tax when they were just a few hundred metres down the road. This week, with the government under attack from its own backbenchers over a U-turn on, or the position on the Waspi women, she just ignored the issue. Is she making some pretty poor choices as leader of the opposition?
No, she mentioned Waspi this week in
she mentioned it in the first sentence of PMQs and then went on to ask about something different.
I think Kemi completely wiped.
Yeah, I'd noticed that as well. Like, the Speaker of the House is so shit. Because she starts talking about Waspi women and then goes, oh, I'd like to ask about this completely different thing. No. This is not a statement on behalf of the opposition leader. This is Prime Minister's questions. You don't get to monologue.
You're scrutinising the government by asking them questions they should answer.
So, look, if she'd done that whole thing and then asked a question about Waspi, okay, fine. But you don't get to then pivot and just start doing a fucking speech. No. There's a reason we have this. It's not just theatre. And if we had a genuine Speaker of the House, they might have intervened and gone, this is unacceptable. That counts as one of your questions. Moving on. Because they're allowed a certain number of questions. Lindsay Hoyle is a fucking chocolate teapot cunt. Yes. Useless fucking wanker.
The floor with Keir Starmer this week, and she's growing in confidence at the dispatch box.
You're not the best judge of that. But my point is she choosing the right agenda? Because as far as one can make out...
Don't say agenda. She will go fucking mental. Honestly.
She's not really being heard, and your poll ratings are just not budging.
Well, look at the family farms tax. She came out straight away as soon as that policy was introduced.
They're calling it the family farms tax. No, I'm calling it the Jeremy Clarkson tax. Fuck it.
Yeah, the James Dyson tax.
Yeah, I'm calling it the Andrew Lloyd Webber tax. And any tax will do.
And stood up on that stage in Whitehall and said to those farmers, we get into power, we will reverse this. And Kemi's been quite clear that she won't come with new policy proposals at this point in time, but she knew that was so bad and so damaging.
So she will come up with some policies. Okay, so you're wrong. Brilliant.
To investment and to farming, that she came out against it. And the same on business property relief, which actually is a much wider issue. Family businesses in the UK employ 14 million people. They pay £200 billion a year in taxes. And the Labour government is going to say to those family businesses, if you pass it on from one generation to the next, you're going to pay a huge tax.
Well, no, it's not a huge tax. It's actually half the amount of tax that everyone else pays, and it's over £3 million. That's the thing people need to focus on. These are defending people inheriting £3 million or more.
Yep.
I'm sorry, if you're inheriting £3 million and you're paying half the level of tax, I'd wind your fucking
on everything
neck
above
in.
that as well. On everything above that. So
Yeah, exactly.
if you're
The first 3 million's free, gratis.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone else,
Remember-
was it 600 grand or whatever? I don't fucking remember what the number was.
And yet the people who go out there and who earn the money, who would do the work, right?
Hmm.
You only get 12 grand tax free.
Yeah. Like, if I had such a sweetheart deal, I'd stay quiet. Don't know about you.
A huge amount of tax. Totally wrong. Will damage investment. The CBI said it'll cost our economy $9 billion.
Oh, the CBI. The right-wing fucking ultra-capitalist fucking shithouse lobbyist organisation. They said it. Oh, wow. Well, I'm just going to ignore that then. Because I don't care. I don't care
No, but
what the proven liars have to say about anything.
Oh, but they've espoused the correct position, the correct ideology, which is that business is good and you should feel good for liking it.
Yeah, red line go up, and that is all that matter.
£1 and 125,000 jobs in this parliament. Kemi's come out and said she'll reverse that policy also. I think she's making the right choices.
Does it worry you at all that the one thing we now know that she really would change were she in government tomorrow, from the public's point of view, looks like, oh, the Tories support rich farmers, like Jeremy Clarkson?
Well, that's a misunderstanding of the issue.
Well, it is a misunderstanding of the issue because Jeremy Clarkson isn't a fucking farmer.
True.
I've always said, I don't give a fuck. If you're actually making food that people need, yeah, I don't want to tax that shit. That's fine. You're already working on ridiculously fine margins, fine. But if you're Jeremy Clarkson, yeah, I don't think I would happily tax you 110% because you're a cunt.
True.
Do you know what I mean? Fuck's sake. Okay, Telio, if you hit the follow button, I won't call you a bitch. I promise. Okay? You're still here, so you're clearly enjoying the content, or your arms have stopped working and you can't use your mouse anymore to click away. Either way, hit the follow button. What the fuck am I doing?
If you look at what's politics. Well, that's not a good thing. That's why I'm pleased to be here to put the record straight. So in my constituency, I've got a family farm. It's been in the family for generations. 350 acres, not some wealthy.
Okay, so there probably won't be much over the 3 million then, will
Ladies
it?
and gentlemen, we got him. Victory is ours.
Exactly. And the value of the land will go down because it won't be in high demand to use as an inheritance tax dodge.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
actually, if the value of the farms goes down, they'll be inheriting smaller estates in financial terms. I mean, they're less likely to get taxed. So if they actually care about holding on to the land to be able to keep the family farm, rather than holding on to an asset with lots of value, then they won't mind, will they?
Sure. Thank you for hitting the button, Telio. But you're new here, so I don't know if you necessarily know how much of a fucking child I am. The temptation to say the thing that I said I wouldn't say is so strong. Honestly, I'm fighting it back like a man just walked out of the desert and you've got a fucking glass of water and it's just right there. Oh, it's right there. I can taste it. But I said I wouldn't, and I'm a man of my word. Welcome to the Kevolution, friend.
Right, SK the Crusader in chat. Everyone go follow.
You want now?
SK the Crusader in chat. Welcome in. Everyone go drop them a follow.
Yeah, exactly. Good lad.
I'm joined now by the
bollocks! Ah, no! What did I press? No! Please go back to where we were.
Well, that's a misunderstanding of the issue. If you look
that'll
at
do.
Politics.
Well, that's not a good thing. That's why I'm pleased to be here to put the record straight. So in my constituency, I've got a family farm. It's been in the family for generations. 350 acres, not some wealthy scheme to avoid inheritance tax. They make less than £50,000 a year. Their tax on that farm will be £500,000. It'd take them.
No, I'm sorry. Hang on. Whoa. There's no fucking way that it would be £500,000. If it's 3 million and you're having to pay half the normal inheritance tax rate over 3 million, in order for it to be £500,000, you'd have to be worth what?
5.5 million.
5 million, yeah, something like that. Like, there's no way they only have 350 acres. Where the fuck is it? 350 acres of Manhattan? What are you talking about? What fucking land is worth that much? Fuck off. It's not. Is it Monaco? Are you talking about Monaco? What land is worth all of that amount of money? You're talking shit, mate.
12 years to pay that tax amount off just through profits. How can that be right? For them to actually sell, they'd have to sell land, a third of their land, to pay off that tax bill. That family farm in 2 generations.
No. If it's £5.5 million, right, and they're paying off £500,000 of tax, then they're paying off like fucking 9%. That's 9%.
Yeah.
Of the total.
Yeah, and they've got 10 years to fucking pay it off. Whereas like everyone else has a lower threshold, a higher rate, and has to pay it instantly. Yeah. You have to pay it in one go. You don't get. There's not like a grace period. You have to just fucking pay the tax, or they come and take your shit, or take you to court, right?
Whereas, exactly, not Twitch streamers.
Well, exactly, yeah. Whereas you go, these motherfuckers have got 10 years to pay it off, a £3 million threshold, which again, no one feels sorry for someone inheriting £3 million quid. It's fucking ridiculous, right? And you're paying it half the rate. You've got the cushiest deal imaginable. I'd take it if I were you. Yeah. The fact that you were getting away with paying nothing was always a disgrace.
100% right. Facts.
It's totally the wrong thing to do, and that's why we're opposing it.
Well, look, let's deal with what is probably really happening on the ground. The one party which seems to have benefited over the last year, or last 6 months at least, is the one party that's sort of come into being within the last year, and that's Nigel Farage's Reform Party. They've taken 1 in 5 of the people who voted for you in July, according to the latest polls. Is the Conservative Party on its way to becoming the junior party on the centre-right?
Absolutely not.
Well, yeah, absolutely not, because it won't be any kind of partner. It will be
dead. It also won't be partnering with the centre-right, because they are not centre-right, they're right-wing. Yeah. And Reform UK are the far-right.
Yeah, the Labour Party are the centre-right.
Yeah.
And I understand why people didn't support us the last election. We did many things right, we didn't get everything right. But certainly on migration is something we did not get right. We didn't have the levers of power in terms of migration until 2020.
Yeah, exactly. The music going on about migration. It's like, yeah, the true centre-right opinion is to take refugees, right, vulnerable refugees, and illegally deport them to a country that's about to go to war with the Democratic Republic of the Congo, right?
Hang on, but that isn't. I thought they were the same country. What? Are they different countries? This is breaking news live.
Breaking news for Chris Philp, right?
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Hello there, Zacap. Everyone go and follow Zacap on the various
Yes, indeed,
platforms.
go and do that. I demand that you follow Zacap. Excellent lefty educational creator from Australia.
So, but don't hold that against them. Just because their cricket team are a bunch of cheating cunts does not mean you have to hate all Australians. Okay.
Exactly. You know.
We set the bar too low in terms of legal migration, and we struggle with Labour in terms of opposing our measures to control illegal migration.
Also, hang on, just time out, just on the point he was making there. We didn't have the levers of migration until 2020. Firstly, you basically did. And secondly, it wasn't until you got those levers of migration that the system completely collapsed. It was actually working reasonably well, not brilliantly, but reasonably well, until you got full control of it, and now we've got fucking migrant hotels and race riots.
Yep, exactly. Because you eviscerated the funding for the asylum processing system, and your crappy no-deal Brexit pulled us out of the Dublin Protocol.
But thankfully, we did paint over that mural because we wouldn't want any of the kids to feel anything less than absolute terror.
Exactly, and of course we got the lovely blue passports as well.
Blue passports. There you go, motherfucker. Keep meaning to put this away in a safe place, but it's just on my desk.
Just another Brexit benefit.
Yeah, it's just a prop for me to use.
Thank you, Knox, for the £20 super chat. It's incredibly generous of you. Streams have been great this year. Have a good holiday period. Likewise, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And of course to Kevin as well. I hope you have a good holiday period too.
No, I'm was it weak sauce or some shit earlier? I can't remember what it was. I'm a piss weak streamer, something like that.
You see, fucking you're total shit. You're awful.
Absolute
Which is why
rubbish.
you continually get people watching you and donating to you to do this as a career.
Yeah, but they're clearly worse. Imagine that. Imagine, look, I'm bad, but imagine donating to this. Oh no.
Like James from the internet, if you're still there, how I can't believe it. Get a grip.
True.
Was it 43 months? Was it
43 months. 43 months. There have been people with me longer than that. I think the other day someone hit 50, which I didn't even realise I'd been fucking streaming that long.
I mean, and like, if we can just cease with the tongue-in-cheek rhetoric, genuinely very impressive that you've been doing it for so long.
And with this little amount of success, yeah, amazing.
Oh, you do it as a career, don't you?
Yeah.
You ended Milo Yiannopoulos' career.
I did. Although, did you see him pop up this week? He and what's her name? The one that was shagging Trump briefly.
Laura Loomer?
Laura Loomer, yeah. The girls have been fighting.
They have been.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Two of the worst people to have ever existed, hating each other openly. Grab your popcorn and enjoy.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the Kevin Logan effect, right?
It is.
You're the one. You're doing a tour of the country, going around and humiliating individual trans people at universities, and being able to be the cultural figure du jour because people keep protesting the fact that you're a massive arsehole. One Kevin Logan appears, and suddenly your career is having slap fights on the Tim Pool podcast and crying in debates with Destiny.
True. Honestly, I have protected all trans students in America. You're very welcome.
You have. Ironically, that's true. That's kind of true.
Oh God.
Like.
Oh, okay. I'm very proud of it. I'll leave it there. I'm getting abashed now. I'm gonna start. I'm blushing.
I've said. I've said this before. I mean, it's getting up to the end of the year, so we're in the soppy period of the year. And as I said before, if you didn't get me to some level of prominence by inviting me on to come and join you on stream after we shared that hippy dippy panel ages ago, I think it's 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
That was when we first kind of crossed paths and we just kind of DM'd each other and copped on a couple of your streams. I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't have the audience. I would never have had the recognition. I wouldn't have gone viral after calling up Rachel Reeves and being found by Novara from that. So my career is entirely predicated on you going, oh, that British girl's cool from the stream. Let's have her on for a bit. And we have been we've been doing we've probably been doing question time on Thursday consistently for the last 2 years.
Yeah. No, it's been nice. Honestly,
it's been great. It's been good fun.
I'm gonna cry. I'm saying it. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Again, we do it all for you, chat. That's not really true either, but
no, as we don't actually. No. We do it for the full communism that we create by having Twitch stuff, by people subscribing on Twitch.
Literally. Anyway, Kevin Hollinrake. What a segue.
But we've committed, we will get those things right. We've got the levers at our disposal now. I understand people didn't trust us at the last election, but I do think when they see the policy proposals come forward, I think they'll trust us at the next election.
Well, let's leave aside the 14 years you had to get people to trust you. Let's just talk about now.
We did many things right in this 14
Absolute backhand.
Love it.
Let's ignore the fact that everyone hates you because of what you did for 14 years. It's just lovely passive-aggressive slap. Beautiful.
I can list them if you want.
I just said let's leave it aside. Let's talk about now. Is what you've just said an indication that you would move towards the position that Reform has taken on migration of net zero, and that you would agree...
Oh, I guarantee that'll be their policy at the next election. Because they're going to have to try and match them, stride for stride at the very least. Yeah, I almost guarantee that will be their position.
I think the opposite is true.
Oh, okay.
I think that they'll go harder on being. Actually, no, I think you're right that they will try and do that. Kemi will do that, but it's bad for them politically to do that. I think that what they should be doing is going hard into environmentalism, conservative environmentalism, right? The conservationism rather than industrialism, I guess, because we saw from the polling that the most supported ideology in Britain is the one of environmentalism. Reform UK's single policy platform, I think that they have that really sets them apart from the country. There are a bunch of things where they fall out of line too, like a lot of their migration opinions are far too extreme, their opinions on the right, they're out of touch with the public. But the biggest thing that they don't have in touch with the public is the strong belief in solving climate change, which is shared across society in this country. We're one of the most pro-green policy countries in Europe. They're not going to, if the Tories want to set themselves apart from reform, they'll do all of the racist shit, they'll do all of the anti-poor shit, but they'll do it and through an environmentalist lens as well, probably a NIMBY lens too.
Yeah, there'll be some NIMBYism, definitely.
Because it's the one position that reform takes that is really, really unpopular.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely counter to national opinion. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, the Tories, they sort of have to, especially on immigration, because they're so distrusted on that now. I don't think they'll win many, if any, voters back, but they have to at least match. They have to match the vibe. They have to match the freak of reform on that. Because they're stealing their voters, you know?
It's a real rock and a hard place, isn't it?
Yeah, well, because they fucked themselves, because they're not a Conservative Party. As I've said before, if you were a Conservative, why would you vote for the Conservative Party? They're not. They're not a Conservative Party. They're a neoliberal party.
Yep.
Thank you, 8DX Man, with 3 community subby subs. Much love to you. Honestly, I will happily suck your penis. That is all. Partner Push 2036.
With what Priti Patel, Shadow Foreign Secretary, said this morning, that at some level you're going to have to reach an accommodation with reform.
Well, we've said we'll set a cap, which is the right thing.
Right, but again, the Reform Party would be stupid to do that. I think Nigel Farage naturally sort of wants to be accepted within conservatism. He enjoys the pomp of being like a member of Parliament and stuff, right? He wants to be part of the establishment because he's naturally a kind of establishment beast, private school educated wanker banker. Like he's absolutely
pro-hierarchy,
yeah. But from the political perspective, I think he's too savvy that he understands that to do a deal with the Tory party in any way now would be too much. Like, but his voters were okay with it when it was Johnson, because they quite like Boris Johnson because of the the racism and the fact that he lays pipe and all the rest of it. But also, he fucks around. They're fine with that. And secondly, because of the Brexit thing, right? That's the whole raison d'etre of the Brexit party, so that made sense. Albeit it fucked over Jeremy Corbyn, which I suppose from their perspective is an allied win. But when it comes to the kind of Conservative Party post Johnson, it would be political suicide for the Reform Party to do a deal with them, because the only reason they're growing is because the mono party that is the Labour Tory Ouroboros, the beast with 2 backs that they've made themselves now, are despised by the country. And so Reform are able to hoover up those votes. So it would be fucking stupid for them to jump in bed with but it's like the rats jumping onto the sinking ship. Why would you do that?
Their political position is entirely predicated on being iconoclastic, by being anti-Westminster, by being the outsider to the Uniparty. So by joining up with the Uniparty at all, it immediately torpedoes their credibility as the anti-establishment party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you 8DX Man for the 3 gifts, and thank you Katie for the single gift as well. I appreciate the support.
That will be set by Parliament, so it's in law, so people will have confidence.
Could be 0.
I don't know what the cap will be yet, so I'm not going to speculate on that cap. So it'll be much, much lower than it is today in terms of migration, quite rightly. But the Home Secretary, the Shadow Home Secretary, Chris Philp, and Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Badenoch, have said there will be a cap, and it'll be something people have confidence in. But
no, it won't be something people have confidence in. The whole point is you've had caps in the past and always broken them. Always. They don't fucking work. Unless you're prepared to do the evil shit, like with people, the British media are never so bad as when they're not doing any investigativeness about their claims. So there's been a lot of shit in the British media about the Italian government and how they're keeping immigration down. And that's because they've done deals with, like, essentially slavers in places like Libya to accept people back.
Yep. Exactly.
They're basically sending people back into slavery. They're doing some of the most evil shit imaginable. That's how they're keeping it down.
Exactly.
But they don't, the British public, they don't want to tell the British public that, because that would be journalism.
No, exactly. All they just go is look at the Italians. They do a thing. Boat numbers go down. Number go down equals border more safer.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking evil shit. And of course, if we were to start doing that, the great noticing would happen, and all of a sudden, this would be a bad thing to do.
Also, we need that deterrent, which Labour have scrapped in terms of the deterrent for illegal migration, which was working and has worked in other countries.
But what's your evidence for that it was working? Because the numbers have literally never been
They
higher.
They wrote it into law. That's what they did, right? They passed the Effectiveness of the Rwanda Plan Act.
Yeah. Which also said that Rishi Sunak was actually perfectly normal height. Stop making fun of him. So that means it's true. He is the average height, and people should stop laughing at him.
So the word you're missing there is Rwanda, right?
Rwanda, but Australia is another word you're missing perhaps because it worked in Australia. So we will bring forward a deterrent of that nature.
All right, well, look, there's a lot of noise this morning about Elon Musk's potential donation to reform. Anything from $20 million to $100 million being reported. Should the government prevent such a donation?
I don't believe so. That's his money to spend. I think as long as...
He's not a British citizen, though. So it's literally... I mean, it's already technically illegal. So he's literally just saying, no, it's fine. No, foreigners should be able to buy our election. Which is just... It's more honest than Tories have been in the past. They've always pretended to be against it while accepting all of that foreign money. But now they're just like, no, actually, yeah, oligarchy is awesome. Let's do that.
It's legal, and I think it can be spent through... It can be donated to a UK company, which is legal. I've got to say, I have great faith in the British public. I don't think the British public can be easily bought. I think they'll decide at the next election who they think the best party is to run this country, and I think they'll choose Conservatives.
If by the way, Elon Musk suddenly had a change of heart and decided to offer the millions to the Conservative Party, would you take it?
Well, all donations are welcome. If he thinks we're the right people to represent the people of this country, then so be it.
Well, I'm sure...
Jesus Christ. Is that...
Yep, now it's in the trough. There you go.
What the fuck? Are you trying to appear like the most corrupt bastard in the world? Because you're fucking winning.
I mean, to be fair, is he any more corrupt? Is he any more corrupt than Wes Streeting?
Well, no, but this is the thing. Wes Streeting will lie and pretend that he's not corrupt, whereas he's literally just saying, yeah, no, actually, we'd quite like that corrupt money, please. Thank you.
I mean, to be fair, that's what Wes Streeting said. He said that it's good when people donate money. It's like giving to charity.
Okay, I suppose. But, like, technically he's not speaking... I think he's speaking about British people more than anything, whereas, like, he's literally saying foreigners should be able to buy our election, which, again, plays into Nigel Farage's hand, even though Nigel Farage is the one accepting the foreign donation. Bizarrely, because at least he's sort of pretending that he's not accepting the donation, even though he is.
Mr. Musk watching will have heard that. Thank you very much, Kevin Holleray, for your time this morning. Right, back to our panel. Aisha Hazarika, Joe Tanner, and Kitty
Do we care about what these people have to say?
Not really, considering that both the expectations have never been higher and never been lower.
Fucking hell.
Amazing, amazing stuff. Thankfully, the Fourth Estate really holding their feet to the fire.
The fifth column, you mean?
Sorry, the fifth column. Yes, the fifth column. The Tufton Street elite.
Mm.
Yes. Oh, well, on that bombshell, I guess. We'll call it for the Christmas, I guess. Well, you will call it for Christmas. Just a quick shout out on my end. I'll be doing Gartic Phone with Christy and some various people from the chat. If you want in on that, because we're basically anyone can come on if you're a regular. Hit me up on the Discord, and you can come on and have a good time tomorrow evening.
Absolutely. You can do the No Justice MTG refugees. Can go and enjoy some time with Kevin Logan. I highly recommend you follow us at Ploppy11 over on YouTube or twitch.tv/KFLogan1875. Do it. Follow.
Yeah,
Watch.
if you enjoy weak piss politics or whatever whatever Mr. Peter Bone said.
Cock piss politics.
Cock piss. It's cook pass politics, actually. Yeah, hit me up. Everyone go and follow No Justice MTG and wish them a Merry Christmas and a Happy
Likewise.
New Year.
And again, a very happy Christmas to you, Kevin. Thank you very much for the last 12 months since the last Christmas of streams together. It's been wonderful.
It has been delightful, and here's
fun.
to many more.
Absolutely. Looking forward to getting back to question time.
Yeah, relatively soon after the New Year, because then the Parliament go back on the 5th or something.
They do, yeah. So we're getting immediately the first week of January. I think we're immediately getting question time back.
Nice. There you go.
So obviously, we'll do Sunday streams together, even when it's off season. So
yeah, indeed. Off season. Look, it's literally just a sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
basically.
We should do a 24-hour stream on the politics trade deadline. 100%.
Well, that's what we're calling the election now.
Yeah, the transfer deadline of an election day.
Yeah, the billionaires bidding for political parties.
Yeah, it's just Elon Musk stood outside a training ground in Nottingham going, no, we've got no news here. No news here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No worries. Everyone go and follow KFLogan175 and Ploppy111.
Indeed. Everyone go and follow No Justice MTG on all of the platforms.
Indeed. Should we raid into Mooncat?
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. Mooncat's good.
But as always, take care and stay safe. A very, very Merry Christmas. And...
Free Palestine.
And Free Palestine.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.